Chapter 606. What does this have to do with Jingxian? Xiao Chen said. As expected, Xiao Xiao had some hostility towards Jingxian. I just don't like her. She saw you show your strength, so she came to seduce you. Goddess? Xiao Xiao curled her lips. That's your sister-in-law. Don't talk nonsense. If you talk nonsense again, I'll really get angry. Xiao Chen was still very protective of Jingxian. Well, you forget your sister after getting a wife. Typical. Xiao Xiao shrugged and looked at Xiao Chen unhappily. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Good advice is unpleasant to the ear. What nonsense. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay, let's see if there's anything good. I'll buy it for you. That's a good word. Xiao Xiao happily squatted in front of a stall and looked carefully. Xiao Xiao used to enjoy these goods every time. It would take at least 1 or 2 hours to finish picking them up. Xiao Chen stood aside and waited patiently. Xiao Xiao. Brother Xiao Chen? A surprised voice sounded. Xiao Chen turned his head and was slightly startled. The person who had come was actually Qi Zhigao, and there was a girl beside him. She looked fair and clean, and although she was not as pretty as Xiao Xiao, her temperament was somewhat similar to Xiao Xiao's. Qi Zhigao? Why are you here? Xiao Chen was also a little surprised. Brother Xiao Chen, long time no see. Qi Zhigao saw Xiao Xiao and was a little embarrassed, but he still adjusted his mood well. Xiao Xiao, this is my fiancée. I accompanied her out for a walk. It's almost New Year, so I wanted to buy some goods. So it's your fiancée? Xiao Chen didn't expect that Qi Zhigao had already given up on Xiao Xiao. But thinking about it, Xiao Xiao was already engaged to Qing Mingqiang. It was useless for him not to give up. Yes, it's Chao Yuling from the Chao family. I'm also preparing to officially compete for the position of the young master of the Qi family, Qi Zhigao said. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Qi Zhigao would think it through and understand the importance of marriage. Moreover, the person he found was not weak. It turned out to be a member of the Chao family in Songning. However, the Chao family was not strong enough in Xiao Chen's eyes. Congratulations. Xiao Xiao smiled and said, You finally found your true love. The corner of Qi Zhigao's mouth twitched, but he didn't explain anything. In fact, he still liked Xiao Xiao, but he could also see that Xiao Xiao only regarded him as a good friend, but she never liked him. Chao Yuling looked at Xiao Chen and then at Xiao Xiao. She smiled and said, So you are Xiao Chen. My brother has told me about you. Xiao Chen didn't start this topic. It was probably not something good. If Qi Zhigao was willing to find a member of the Chao family, it was his business. Xiao Chen didn't want to talk more with him. Then we'll go first. You can do your work. Qi Zhigao nodded to Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao. Okay, when are you getting married? Don't forget to tell me. I'll go and congratulate you. Xiao Xiao smiled. Sure. Qi Zhigao also smiled. After the two left, Chao Yuling asked Qi Zhigao, Is that Xiao Xiao whom you have been pursuing? It's all in the past. Qi Zhigao was a little embarrassed. It's nothing. Xiao Xiao doesn't look like a good person. She looks at her brother with a flirtatious look. She doesn't like you. She is so close to her brother. I don't know what kind of dirty things they do at home. Chao Yuling curled her lips and said, Yuling, how can you speculate so maliciously? They are brother and sister. How could it be possible? Qi Zhigao frowned. Who said brother and sister are? Oh, I mean they don't look like each other at all. Maybe one of them was adopted. Chao Yuling said sarcastically. Alas. Qi Zhigao sighed. He didn't know whether his choice was right or wrong. This Chao Yuling was a little mean. Although she wasn't as notorious as Qi Ziyuan's fiancé, Qin Xiaojiao, she wasn't a virgin anymore. Although she said that she accidentally broke it when she was exercising, Qi Zhigao didn't believe it. He was not stupid and couldn't tell the difference between anti-fans and fans. He just reluctantly accepted it. As a daughter of a big family, no matter what happened in the past, it would be fine as long as she behaved herself after getting engaged. To his relief, there had never been a rumor that Chao Yuling had a boyfriend. He also investigated, and it was true that Chao Yuling did not have a boyfriend. Therefore, Qi Zhigao could only think that Chao Yuling was born like this, or she secretly comforted herself so it could be considered as a comfort. Today when he saw Xiao Xiao, Qi Zhigao recalled the previous memories. It was originally quite beautiful, but after being ridiculed by Chao Yuling, he suddenly lost the mood and was absent-minded. Chao Yuling's cell phone rang. Chao Yuling picked it up and said to Qi Zhigao, It's my home phone. I'll answer it. As she spoke, she went to the side to answer the phone. Qi Zhigao was too lazy to eavesdrop. He looked at the night market and was a little lost in thought. Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao chose some New Year's goods, and then they were about to get up and leave. Suddenly, several people appeared in front of them, which made them slightly stunned. Xiao Qin, you are under arrest. The leader of the black-shirt man shouted at Xiao Qin. I'm Captain Su Yonglong of the Songning branch of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. You should obediently surrender or we will take coercive measures. Xiao Qin looked at Su Yonglong in front of him with some bafflement. How did they find this place? This was really strange. Moreover, was this guy retarded? I can even defeat Yang Tan. Does he think he is better than Yang Tan? I don't want to go against you. Even Yang Jianan is not my opponent. Xiao Qin said faintly, if you don't want to die, leave quickly. I will pretend that nothing happened. Haha, Xiao Qin, do you think I will use force against you? Su Yonglong suddenly smiled. He directly took out a pistol and pointed it at Xiao Qin, saying, surrender or I will shoot. Do you think you can dodge a bullet? Su Yonglong also saw the video provided by Xia Shibin. He knew that Xiao Qin was also afraid of bullets, so he specially prepared before coming. Oh, do as you wish. Xiao Qin glanced at him and ignored him. He directly turned around and took Xiao Zhao's hand, saying, Xiao Xiao, let's go. Xiao Xiao was a little worried because Su Yonglong was still holding a pistol. If he shot, wouldn't her brother be in trouble? However, out of trust for Xiao Qin, Xiao Xiao did not turn back and walked forward with Xiao Qin. Well, you want to resist arrest? Then don't blame me for being impolite. Su Yonglong pulled the trigger. Bang! The sudden gunshot sounded. The surrounding vendors had already retreated far away. They thought that they had encountered the scene of the police arresting a thief. Xiao Zhao's heart suddenly twitched. The other party really shot. She was a little shocked and squeezed Xiao Chen's hand. After the gunshot, she wanted to see Xiao Chen's situation, but she heard a scream. Ouch! This sound wasn't Xiao Chen's but a little like Su Yonglong's. Xiao Xiao turned around and saw Su Yonglong's right hand was full of blood. His hand was already a mess of flesh and blood. There was also a pistol on the ground that could not be seen. Captain Su. The other two people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau immediately surrounded him. They couldn't understand why Su Yonglong's pistol exploded. They couldn't care less about Xiao Qin. Without the pistol, they were not Xiao Chen's opponent at all. They could only watch Xiao Qin walk away. In the Qing family, Qing Mingxiang had just applied the healing ointment that Qing Zhongfan brought back from the sect. He was usually reluctant to use this ointment, but he had to use it at this moment. Qing Mingxiang, who had applied the ointment, felt a lot more comfortable. He lay on the bed and his heart calmed down a lot. He knew that with the current strength of the Qing family, it was absolutely impossible to go against Xiao Qin. He could only endure it and wait for a chance to take revenge in the future. The phone rang and Qing Mingxiang picked up the phone with some difficulty. Who is it? Young Master Cheng, I'm Chao Yuliang, said Chao Yuliang. What's Liangzi? It's so late. What's the matter? Asked Qing Mingxiang. Guess who Chao Yuling and Qi Zhigao met on the street today? Chao Yuliang said with some excitement. Oh. Qing Mingxiang didn't have the mood to play guessing with Chao Yuliang. He said impatiently, what does it have to do with me who that little B***Tisich met? Could it be that she was not satisfied at home and went to find a new lover? Speaking of Chao Yuliang's sister, Chao Yuling, Qing Mingxiang's heart was refreshed. He had always been suppressed by Qi Zhigao. Originally, he was able to get back at him with Xiao Zhao's matter, but he didn't expect that Xiao Xiao broke off the engagement, and he didn't take advantage of it at all. It was really annoying. Fortunately, Qi Zhigao didn't catch up with Xiao Xiao, which was more or less a comfort. However, there was a cool thing next. Qi Zhigao's fiancée actually chose Chao Yuling. He was about to laugh wildly. Qi Zhigao finally picked up the leftovers. I met Xiao Qin. Chao Yuliang didn't have the mood to talk about other things. He quickly said, Xiao Qin actually dared to appear in Songning City. He really doesn't want to live. Oh. When Qing Mingxiang heard that he met Xiao Qin, he suddenly lost interest. Young Master Qing, after Yuling told me the news, I reported it to the Songning branch of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau immediately. Ah. Now, it is estimated that the Songning branch of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau has already gone to catch Xiao Qin. Chao Yuliang said proudly. Motherf asterisk Kerr. Qing Mingxiang said angrily, who asked you to report it? Are you asking for it? Are you free? Chao Yuliang, let me tell you. Are you showing off? Chao Yuliang was a little confused. How could he deal with Xiao Qin wrongly? This shouldn't be the case. Didn't Qing Mingxiang always deal with Xiao Qin with him? It's a good thing to create trouble and obstacles for Xiao Qin now. Why does Qing Mingxiang sound very angry? Chapter 607. Mother asterisk her, you really can't do anything right. Qing Mingxiang was so angry that he hung up the phone. What's wrong? Just then Qing Zhongfan walked into the bedroom from the outside and heard Qing Mingxiang scolding people. He was slightly surprised and asked, Chao Yuliang, this bastard. His sister saw Xiao Chen on the street and told him. He actually made a decision on his own and reported the Songning branch of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to catch Xiao Chen. Qing Mingxiang snarled angrily, isn't this putting our Qing family in trouble? What will Xiao Chen think? He must think that we reported it. None of your subordinates are useful. Qing Zhongfan slapped his forehead and was a little depressed. That kid doesn't play according to the rules. If he wants to burn our house, it's just a matter of a moment. It's really unwise to provoke him now. I think so too. This Chao Yuliang is too annoying. He made a decision on his own. Qing Mingxiang was also very annoyed. Why don't we look for Xiao Chen to explain? What else is there to explain? He won't believe it even if we explain it. Besides, even if we say that Chao Yuliang did it, Chao Yuliang is your man. Can he believe that this has nothing to do with you? Qing Zhongfan asked. Indeed, it's really killing us. Qing Mingxiang said with hatred. I hope Xiao Chen doesn't think so much. On Xiao Chen's side there were indeed some doubts. He was very puzzled. Logically, Qing Zhongfan wasn't stupid, right? The strength of these people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was not his opponent at all. Why did Qing Zhongfan ask them to come? Was it a joke? He frowned and thought of Chao Yuling, who he saw before. Could it be that she was behind it? This wasn't impossible. It was normal for Chao Yuliang's sister to tell Chao Yuliang later. Thinking that she was Qi Zhigao's girlfriend, and Qi Zhigao had recognized him as his boss before, Xiao Chen couldn't ask them for an explanation. Anyway, there was nothing to do, so he just let it go. However, one thing was certain. His identity as Xiao Chen had been completely exposed. He could no longer use this identity in the future. Brother, what's going on? How did they find you? After escaping danger, Xiao Xiao asked curiously. I don't know either, but I'm guessing Chao Yuling tipped them off. Xiao Chen said, forget it. Ignore them. I'll send you back to the Xiao family. I guess I won't be able to go back to the Xiao family for a while. Starting tomorrow, there will be people waiting at the door of the Xiao family. She's really annoying. She doesn't look like a good person. She looks gentle and quiet on the surface, but I think she's a green tea bitch on the inside, Xiao Xiao said disdainfully. Well, no matter what, she's Qi Zhigao's girlfriend. Xiao Chen waved his hand. He didn't like to talk about friends behind their backs. What a bad taste. Fortunately, I didn't promise him, or else I would be finished. Xiao Xiao patted her chest and said, it's really annoying. I thought that brother would accompany me often during this period. And I'll find a way to secretly accompany you. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. That's more like it. This is what you said. Don't lie or I'll tell Grandpa. Xiao Xiao said. Xiao Chen was happy. It was like this when he was young. If he lied to Xiao Xiao, she would complain to Grandpa. Although he knew that Xiao Xiao was joking now, Xiao Chen was still emotional. After sending Xiao Xiao back to the Xiao family and watching her enter the door, Xiao Chen left. Sure enough, as soon as Xiao Chen returned, he received a report from Xia Shibin. Brother Yang, just now the Warrior Guild Songning branch reported to me that they found traces of you. Xiao Chen, how do you think we should deal with it? Tell them not to act rashly. They are not our opponents. Xiao Chen said, we will take over here. And that's what I said. Xia Shibin nodded. Song Hua Wu, who was at the side, felt that it was a little strange. Previously, in Lego Town, the martial cavalry who fired the gun exploded, and now, this person from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau also exploded. Xiao Chen's move was really a little special, but why didn't Yang Tan's gun explode back then? What's our next plan? Xiao Chen looked at Song Huawu and Xia Shibin and asked. There's no plan. Song Huawu said, it's almost Chinese New Year. Basically, if the mission is not too special or important, it will be arranged to be carried out after Chinese New Year. However, the night after tomorrow, there will be an internal fellowship party of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Then should I go? Xiao Chen was stunned. He actually didn't want to attend such an occasion. There were too many people who knew Yang Jianan, but he didn't know any of them. He was afraid that he would be exposed. Of course, you have to go according to the usual practice. Song Huawu nodded. What if I don't know anyone when I go? What if I get exposed? Xiao Chen was a little worried. He was Xiao Chen. How could he know those people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Song Huawu smiled and said, it's fine. In the past, when Yang Jianan went to the cocktail party, he was also very cold and arrogant. He sat by himself and didn't talk to anyone. Xiao Chen asked curiously, then no one took the initiative to talk to him. No one dared to talk to him with low levels of strength. As for those with high levels of strength, if he didn't take the initiative to talk to them, they wouldn't have the time to talk to him. Song Huawu explained, every time he went, other than flattering Xia Zhili, he would harass me. If I ignored him, he would go to the side with Xia Shibin to drink. That's not bad. Xiao Chen was overjoyed when he heard this. This way it wouldn't be difficult for him to disguise himself. It was very late, so Xia Shibin took his leave and went back to sleep. Song Huawu also went to wash up and prepare to sleep. Xiao Chen also prepared to rest, but what made him puzzled was that Song Huawu actually pushed the two small beds in the room into one room, and then turned them into a big bed. Looking at the scene in front of him, Xiao Chen couldn't help but be stunned. He shouted at Song Huawu, who was brushing her teeth in the bathroom, "Huawu, you made the bed together, how are we going to sleep at night?" Lu. Song Huawu rinsed her mouth and spat out a mouthful of water. She said, "When we were in Lego Town, didn't we always sleep together? Why, did you go out for a walk and get tired of the old?" Xiao Chen was a little stunned. Listening to Song Huawu's somewhat calm tone, he was a little unable to understand Song Huawu's real thoughts. However, thinking that nothing had happened in the past few nights, Xiao Chen simply went directly to the bed, sat cross-legged and prepared to cultivate. He had just broken through, and he still had to ask the Elder Heaven Ancestor what special ability he had. Elder Heaven Ancestor. Xiao Chen just said 2 words. "I sent it to you." The Elder Heaven Ancestor replied to him. Xiao Chen found that he and the Elder Heaven Ancestor really had a tacit understanding. He began to search in his mind. Sure enough, the ability of the 10th level of the Qi refinement stage had the ability to subdue the heavenly flame. Although the Samadhi true flame was strong, it was still a little lacking. The Samadhi true flame could be used to refine pills, ghost talismans and devils, but it couldn't be used to refine weapons. The 10th level of the Qi refinement stage was the beginning of refining magic weapons. Xiao Chen had to prepare for the flying sword after he reached the foundation establishment stage, so he had to obtain a kind of heavenly flame. After that, there were some methods to refine magic weapons. The most important was to refine flying swords, but without the heavenly flame, Xiao Chen couldn't refine flying swords. Although he could use the finished flying swords, the key problem was, where could he find the finished flying swords? Here, the existence of the cultivators was very small, not to mention the magic weapons. Of course, magic weapons weren't limited to flying swords. There were some other things such as alchemy furnace, which also belonged to the magic weapon category, but it required a very high level of forging skills to make. And refining a high-level magic weapon also depended on the level of the heavenly flame. In the information given to him by the Elder Heaven Ancestor, the heavenly flame was divided into 4 levels: heaven level, earth level, black level, and yellow level. Among them, the yellow level was the weakest, but it was also the starting point. The subduing of the heavenly flame also had to follow the order of the yellow Shen heaven and earth. Once it was disobeyed, not only could it not be subdued, it might even backfire. Therefore, Xiao Chen's current priority was to obtain a yellow-level heavenly flame. The heavenly flame was a kind of flame formed between heaven and earth. It was much more violent than the one that the cultivators condensed, and it was especially suitable for refining magic weapons. After reading the information, Xiao Chen was a little depressed. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, where can I find the heavenly flame?" "This depends on you, I don't know." The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, "But if you really don't have it, you can make some flying knives and carry them with you. They can barely be used as offensive magic weapons, but you can't use the flying sword." Xiao Chen was a little speechless after listening. What use could a small knife have? Unless it could be used when a warrior or a martial arts master was unprepared, it couldn't cause too much damage. As for dealing with ordinary people, there was no need to use flying knives at all, it was simply useless. That's right. Xiao Chen suddenly thought of something. Previously, in the Warrior Guild's file, he had seen the analysis of his father's disappearance. Although he didn't know why the trial team was going to the Hakanamada Desert, his father must have heard that there was a heavenly flame in the ruins of the Blazing Mountain. The water from it could be used to refine one's body, which was why he accepted this trial mission. So, there was a heavenly flame there? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen could not help but frown. Right now, he was unable to determine if there really was a heavenly flame there. From the strange matter of his father's disappearance, it was possible that this was a rumor fabricated by someone with ulterior motives to trick his father. Otherwise, his father wouldn't have accepted this trial mission so enthusiastically. But no matter what, regardless of whether the news about the heavenly flame was true or not, Xiaoqun had the idea of going to the Hakonamata desert. He wouldn't be satisfied if he didn't personally investigate the place where his father disappeared. Even though he knew that after so many years there might not be any clues left, he still wanted to go. Now that there was news about the heavenly flame, he had no choice but to go. However, his identity was different now. What reason could he use to go? This was a problem. Chapter 608. Although Xiaoqun was currently on vacation, Xia Zhili would definitely question him if he went to the Hakonamata desert for no reason. It would not be easy to explain then. However, Xiaoqun did not want to wait any longer. He wanted to find the truth behind his father's disappearance and the heavenly flame as soon as possible. Xiaoqun took a deep breath and shook off his impulsive mind. Sometimes haste makes waste. He had to find a suitable reason to do this. What are you doing? You're sighing and shaking your head. Do you still want to sleep? Song Huawu lifted the blanket and rubbed her body against the headboard. She looked at Xiaoqun and said, "What are you doing? Are you drooling over me and unable to sleep?" Don't joke around. Xiaoqun shook his head and said, "I want to go to the Hakonamata desert." Chem? Song Huawu was slightly stunned. Why do you want to go there? The last trial mission that my father did was to go to the ruins of the blazing mountain in the Hakonamata desert. He also went missing there, so I want to go and take a look, Xiaoqun said. Song Huawu thought for a moment and asked, "You found out about this in the warrior guild?" Yes. I don't want to wait any longer. I want to go and take a look. It would have been fine if Xiaoqun did not know about it in the past. However, now that he knew, he had to go and take a look. But I don't have any reason. Xia Zhili might be suspicious. Sigh, that's it? You're so stupid. Song Huawu yawned. Didn't Xiaoqun appear? You told Xia Zhili that Xiaoqun knew that his father went missing in the Hakonamata desert, so he went to the Hakonamata desert. In order to chase after him, you also went there. Isn't that the reason? Huawu, you're too smart. Xiaoqun slapped the bed, surprised and happy. That's right. You're my Xiao little Huo. No matter how smart you are, it's never too much. Song Huawu snorted. She suddenly thought of Hongzhu. Are you going to hug me? I'm not planning to. Xiaoqun smiled and said, Huawu, I feel that even though we are good friends, it's not appropriate for us to keep making such jokes. What if I take it seriously? Then you'll be responsible. Song Huawu said disapprovingly, Is there anything else? If you don't do anything to me, I'm going to sleep. Yeah. I'm so sleepy. As Song Huawu spoke, she snuggled into the bed, covered herself with the blanket and closed her eyes. Xiaoqun, on the other hand, started cultivating. It was a quiet night. The next morning, Xiaoqun couldn't wait to call Xia Zhili. Jianan? What's wrong? Is it because of the appearance of Xiaoqun? Xia Zhili asked. Yes, Deputy Director Xia. I heard that Xiaoqun has already found out through special channels that his father went missing in the blazing mountain ruins in the Hakonamata desert. I'm afraid he has already fled to the Hakonamata desert, so I want to end my vacation and go to the Hakonamata desert to hunt him down. At this point, Xiaoqun said hatefully, He nearly took my life. I want to tear him into pieces. Is that so? So he's already escaped? Xia Zhili didn't think there was anything wrong with it. After all, Yang Jianan and Xiaoqun were irreconcilable enemies. It was normal for Yang Jianan to want to kill Xiaoqun. It was reasonable for him to end his vacation because he met his enemy. Yes, he must have escaped. Xiaoqun said, If I were him, I would also go and find out that my father went missing in the Hakonamata desert. And since you are willing to give up your vacation to hunt down Xiaoqun, there is naturally no problem. I can't stop you. Xia Zhili said, But tomorrow night, you must attend our Supernatural Investigation Bureau's party. You are now the newly appointed deputy team leader of Team B. You have to show your face and go to the Hakonamata desert after the party. No problem. Xiaoqun responded. He wasn't really going to chase after Xiaoqun. It didn't matter if he went a day earlier or a day later, so he directly agreed. Okay, when the time comes, I will also introduce you to the mysterious director of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He doesn't appear often. Now that you have made a great contribution, I will introduce you to him. You are also a general under me. Xia Zhili said. Thank you so much, Deputy Director Xia. Xiaoqun quickly said with fear and trepidation, but he didn't think so. Xia Zhili was just using him and the mysterious director to show off. In the end, it was for his own benefit. After hanging up the phone, Xiaoqun looked at Song Huawu next to him, who was glaring at him angrily. What are you doing? Xiao Chen was shocked. I was having a beauty nap and you woke me up. Song Huawu said angrily, let me tell you, if I wasn't beautiful, would you marry me? Forget it. If it weren't for me, you would be sitting in a wheelchair now, Xiao Chen said. But I was also seen by you. How much does it cost to find someone to watch a live streamer's video? Besides, you also touched me. Song Huawu said, so we're even. That works too. Xiao Chen was a little speechless, but he didn't argue with her. Then you continue to sleep. I will go and cook. Okay, call me when it's done. Song Huawu closed her eyes again. Xiao Chen made breakfast, but he thought of Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan. I wonder how they are. It was as if he had never left Songning, and what happened in Lan City was just a dream. After breakfast was ready, Song Huawu had already woken up without Xiao Chen calling her. She sat at the table in a daze and began to eat. You woke up in time. Xiao Chen smiled. I can smell the fragrance. Song Huawu said while eating, after eating, let's pack up and go to Tianfang province. The headquarters of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is there. Xiao Chen nodded and sat down to eat. After breakfast, Xiao Chen, Song Huawu and Xia Shibin rushed to the airport. They had already booked plane tickets to Chengdu City, the provincial capital of Tianfang province. Of course, not everyone could attend the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's fellowship party. Only people at the level of Yang Jianan and Song Huawu could attend, and Xia Shibin went as an attendant. Because the plane tickets were booked at the last minute, when they rushed to the airport, the plane was about to depart. Most of the passengers had already changed their boarding passes and passed the security check, waiting to board. The seats of Xiao Chen and the other two were not connected. At this moment they could not choose to sit next to each other. Xiao Chen did not care about this. Anyway, it would only take a few hours. They would arrive at their destination in a daze. After passing the security check quickly, the boarding had already begun. The three of them finally caught the plane, took the boarding pass and looked for their respective seats. Xiao Chen compared the boarding pass and found his seat. However, to his surprise, there was already someone sitting in his seat. This made him a little puzzled. He looked at the boarding pass and then looked at the seat number. There was no mistake. Miss, may I ask if you're a 36A? Xiao Chen smiled and asked the girl sitting in his seat. What? After the girl heard Xiao Chen's words, she was suddenly stunned. Her face was a little red and she said weakly, I am obviously 36B. Lan Xinxin was a little annoyed after saying this sentence. Whether I am 36A or 36B, what does it have to do with this person? Is there something wrong with this person? Why is he asking about other people's chest size? She was also honest, so she said it. In fact, Lan Xinxin's chest was a little small. She was usually most depressed when others talked about her flat chest, so she subconsciously retorted. But after saying it, she regretted it a little. Why did I tell my privacy to a stranger? Thinking of this, Lan Xinxin ignored Xiao Chen. She turned her head and looked out of the window of the plane. Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. What's wrong with this chick? She already admitted that she is 36B, but she still sits in the 36A seat. Really? If you want to lean against the window, just say it. It's not like I don't want to change seats with you. Why are you ignoring me? However, Xiao Chen didn't say much. He sat in the 36B seat. Since the 36A was occupied by her, then Xiao Chen could only do so. However, Lan Xinxin was shocked. She didn't expect that the man who asked about her chest size would suddenly sit next to her. This made her a little nervous. Is this person a pervert? Otherwise, after asking about my chest size, why is he sitting next to me? However, Lan Xinxin didn't ask. She was afraid that if she spoke, this person would endlessly pester her. However, when she thought of the long journey and this pervert sitting next to her, she felt uncomfortable all over. Thinking of this, Lan Xinxin finally gathered her courage and said to Xiao Chen, Hey, the seat you are sitting in is mine. Please go back to your seat. Xiao Chen was originally closing his eyes to rest. When he heard Lan Xinxin's words, he was a little puzzled. I'm going back to my seat? Then I'm going to sit on you? You. When Lan Xinxin heard Xiao Chen's words, she thought, this person is really a pervert. His words are taking advantage of me. You don't have a seat for yourself? Yes, it was occupied by you. Xiao Chen looked at Lan Xinxin with an inexplicable and innocent face. My seat is 36A. I just asked you. You said you were 36B, but I saw that you didn't intend to give up your seat, so I could only sit on your 36B. Where else can I sit? Huh? You were talking about the seat on the plane? Lan Xinxin was stunned. She looked up at the seat number above her head and suddenly understood. Their row was row 36, and the seat by the window was 36A. It turned out that this person was asking for her seat number, but she thought that he was asking about her chest size. Thinking of this, Lan Xinxin suddenly felt a little embarrassed. She saw that the seat by the window was empty, so she sat on it. Xiao Qin and the others were the last to board the plane. It was no wonder that Lan Xinxin thought that there was no one in this seat. Chapter 609. Now that she thought about it, he didn't mean anything else at all. Lan Xinxin suddenly felt a little ashamed. I'm sorry. I'll switch with you, that's not necessary. If you like 36A, then 36A is fine. Xiao Qin smiled and shook his head. This girl is really strange. She looks pretty, but why does she feel a little unconventional and stupid? No, I don't like 36A. Lan Xinxin said subconsciously, but after saying it, she realized that she said it wrong. But she still wanted to switch because she now remembered that the seat she was sitting in was 36A. She remembered that she was flat-chested, so she wanted to change. I'm still 36B. Oh, then it's up to you. Xiao Qin stood up, but the guest in seat 36C next to him had already put down his luggage and sat down. After this person sat down, he closed his eyes and started snoring. Xiao Qin didn't know if he was really asleep or pretending. Although Xiao Qin wasn't afraid of him, he didn't want to cause trouble on the plane, so he said, I will lift the seat first and then you come over from in front of me. I will then move over, and Lan Xinxin nodded to show her agreement. However, when she stood up and moved to Xiao Qian's side, she suddenly remembered that her buttocks were facing Xiao Qian. Moreover, because she wanted to rub against him, she twisted her buttocks. This made her face a little hot. She also felt some self-pity. Lan Xinxin, you are so stupid. How can you do this? Isn't this equivalent to showing off to others? However, it was already like this. She could only speed up and want to move over quickly. Who would have thought that she would be anxious and directly knock the small table in front of the seat? She was shocked. She subconsciously dodged back and directly sat on Xiao Qian's body. Lan Xinxin was a cute beauty. Although she looked a little stupid, this kind of girl could make people more excited sometimes. So, Xiao Qian was the same at this moment? Lan Xinxin also felt that something was wrong for a moment. She subconsciously stood up again, but she used too much force and hit the small table in front of her that was completely open. She bounced back and sat on Xiao Qian's body again. However, this time Xiao Qian didn't feel it at all. Because he was directly broken by Lan Xinxin. He could even hear the crisp "kacha" sound. Oh! Xiao Qian screamed. He was sweating from the pain. Lan Xinxin also noticed that something was wrong. Although she was stupid, she also knew what happened. She stood up in a hurry, but she saw that Xiao Qian's face had turned green. Are you all right? I'll send you to the hospital. His face turned pale with fright. Xiao Qian grimaced in pain. In fact, this matter couldn't be blamed on Lan Xinxin, who asked Xiao Qian to be tempted. But this Lan Xinxin was accurate enough. It really made him very depressed. Xiao Qian waved his hand and slowly moved his body away. He sat inside 36A by the window. Looking at Xiao Qian's painful look, Lan Xinxin was scared. She also heard the crisp sound just now. She also saw similar news reports. Combined with Xiao Qian's current appearance, he would definitely be broken. Fortunately, he was a cultivator and could repair himself. Otherwise, he would really be crippled. It would be difficult to recover even if he went to the hospital. Xiao Qian thought that this chick was too much of a scam. If he really broke, it would be over. Sir, are you really okay? Lan Xinxin looked at Xiao Qian nervously and said, if there is a problem, let's go to the hospital quickly. I have an acquaintance in the hospital. I have a sister there. If you are afraid of losing face, we can go secretly. No need. Xiao Qian was a little speechless. Go secretly? Obviously, you are the one who caused me to break. What is there for me to lose face? You really don't need it? Lan Xinxin asked with uncertainty. Really? Even if there is something, I won't look for you. Okay. Xiao Qian didn't want to talk too much about this topic. There were so many people on the plane. Those who didn't know would think that something was wrong with him. Then, that's okay. Lan Xinxin saw that Xiao Qian's attitude was firm, so she could only give up. However, she was a little uneasy in her heart. She still secretly observed Xiao Qian and found that Xiao Qian was picking up a magazine issued on the plane at the moment. It seemed that there was no adverse reaction, so she was slightly relieved. After a while, the plane was ready to take off. It entered the runway and taxied. Lan Xinxin looked at Xiao Qian again and saw that he was still fine. She heaved a sigh of relief and picked up the newspaper to read. After the plane flew smoothly, the stewardess began to distribute drinks and snacks. The man on the other side of Lan Xinxin seemed to wake up and ordered a cup of coffee. Lan Xinxin asked for a glass of milk, and Xiao Chen asked for a glass of water. He was a little thirsty. After drinking, he planned to go to the bathroom. He wanted to go before, but seeing that the man was sleeping, he didn't want to disturb him. "I'm going to the bathroom," Xiao Chen said to Lan Xinxin. "Ah." Lan Xinxin was stunned. Are you going to check if it's broken?" Xiao Chen suddenly had a black line. What kind of logic is this? Looking at Xiao Chen's black face and not answering, Lan Xinxin thought that she had guessed it right. It must be like this, so she suddenly felt a little nervous. If Xiao Chen went to the bathroom, it must mean that he is uncomfortable. There is a problem. Otherwise, why would he go to the bathroom? Thinking of this, Lan Xinxin was very apologetic. "Why don't I accompany you to take a look? If there is any problem, I can help you. I'm going to pee. Can you help me too?" Xiao Chen didn't know what to say. Is this a silly girl? Then I can help you check to see if it can pee," Lan Xinxin said. "No, I can check it myself." Xiao Chen said, "You should get out of the way. I will pee in my pants. Then you come back. Be sure to tell me the result," said Lan Xinxin. Xiao Chen left speechlessly. He passed by Xia Shibin's seat. He wanted to change seats with him, but he didn't expect this guy to fall asleep. Song Huawu was in the front business class, so Xiao Chen was too lazy to look for her. After going to the bathroom, Xiao Chen did a quick check. He heaved a sigh of relief when he realized that he had perfectly repaired Lu Shuangshuang. In fact, if he could repair Lu Shuangshuang, he could not do much either. However, he felt a little more confident after looking at her. Walking back to his seat, Xiao Chen saw the man next to him talking to Lan Xinxin. They seemed to be talking about something. When he saw Xiao Chen coming back, he just stood up, opened the luggage rack and took out his box from it. Xiao Chen also returned to his seat. "Miss, look. These are the jade that I want to take to the auction. If you like it, I can sell it to you at the starting price." "Who asked us to take the same plane? This is also fate," the man said as he opened his box. Xiao Chen glanced at it. There were a lot of jade carvings in it. They were all kinds of beautiful, but Xiao Chen couldn't feel any aura. However, when Xiao Chen took a closer look, he couldn't say that those were all fake. There were indeed fakes in it, but there were also real ones. Could be said that it was a mix of real and fake. Lan Xinxin's eyes were already bright. She said eagerly, "Then Brother Chen, do you have a jade pendant made of the best warm jade?" The so-called warm jade, also known as warm jade, was actually a type of nephrite. Because nephrite's color and texture were as smooth as fat, it gave people a warm feeling. As for the top-grade warm jade, it was warm to the touch. It was the top-grade warm jade, and this type of nephrite was very rare. However, Xiao Chen knew that some spiritual jades had this kind of feeling. However, not all spiritual jades had this kind of feeling because there were also spiritual jades in the cold jade. Yes, of course there are. The man called Brother Chen carefully took out a small box from the bottom of the box. He opened it carefully and took out a jade pendant. This was a carving in the shape of a big coin. It was very exquisite and beautiful. Is this really a top-grade warm jade?" Lan Xinxin was stunned. "My mother is sick. Her body is cold all year round. A Taoist priest once said that wearing a top-grade warm jade can alleviate the illness. That's really a coincidence. This is also a top-grade warm jade. I originally wanted to sell it at the auction, but since we are fated, I don't mind selling it to you," Brother Chen said. "Really?" Lan Xinxin couldn't believe that her luck was so good. Her hands trembled as she took the jade pendant from Brother Chen. Once it touched her hand, she couldn't help but exclaim, It really is a warm jade. It feels warm to the touch, so magical." "Right, you're also very lucky. If you didn't meet me, this top-grade warm jade is really hard to come by. Ordinary warm jade isn't this magical." Brother Chen nodded and said. Xiao Chen was stunned. He didn't know whether the other top-grade warm jades had spiritual energy. In any case, this one didn't. However, looking at the condition of this jade, it should be a real one. Xiao Chen couldn't determine whether it was real or fake, so he didn't interrupt. Lan Xinxin held the jade pendant in her hand. It was obvious that she couldn't let go of it. After looking at it for a long time, she confirmed that it was what she needed. She couldn't help but be surprised and happy. "Brother Chen, how much is this top-grade warm jade?" 10 million. Brother Chen said, "Of course, I can't sell this jade to you at the starting price because it is more precious. I estimate that if it is put up for auction, it can be sold for at least 20 million. Of course, the auction will take a 40% commission, so the remaining price will be 12 million. I will give you a discount to round it up to 10 million. 10 million? Xiaochen was a little surprised. Is this silly girl very rich? I didn't see it, but the person next to me actually saw it. Otherwise, whether the jade in his hand was real or fake, he wouldn't pick a poor person to fool. 10 million. Lan Xinxin frowned. It's a little expensive. Chapter 610. But good things are expensive. Think about it. 10 million yuan or your mother's illness, which is more important? Brother Qin said, I see that you are a little girl, so I sold it to you for 10 million yuan. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said such nonsense. Our brother Qin is right. I'll buy it. After Lan Xinxin heard it, she immediately nodded. But I can't give you the money on the plane now. Just transfer it to your mobile phone. Brother Qin smiled. When the plane lands and you can turn on your mobile phone, transfer it to me. And then okay. Lan Xinxin nodded after listening. I'll return it to you first. No need. You can look at it yourself first. You can also carefully evaluate whether this jade pendant is worth the money. Brother Qin smiled. You are sitting on the plane. Do you think I'm afraid that you will run away? Hee, that's true. Lan Xinxin smiled and continued to play with the jade pendant in her hand, but her face was full of excitement. You can look at it first and think about it calmly. If you think it's good, you can transfer it to me when the plane lands. If it's not good, you can return it to me. Brother Qin smiled generously. It doesn't matter. This thing can't be broken anyway. And then I'll think about it. Lan Xinxin felt that what Brother Qin said was reasonable, and it seemed to be very sincere. However, the price of 10 million yuan was really expensive. Even for her, it was difficult to take it out. Although her family had some money, because her mother wasn't the legal wife, she usually didn't have much pocket money. She was also very thrifty. Otherwise, she wouldn't be sitting in economy class on the plane. It's okay. You take a look first. Brother Qin smiled. After that, he didn't say much and waited for Lan Xinxin to evaluate it herself. On Lan Xinxin's side, she turned her head and asked Xiaochen, Oh yeah, you, how are you? Is it good there? It's not good. If I don't suffocate, can I still come back? Xiaochen was a little speechless. This Lan Xinxin, it took a long time to react and ask me. The most important thing is that she actually remembered this matter. No, I mean other aspects. Is it good? Asked Lan Xinxin. Other aspects. Xiaochen rolled his eyes and didn't know what to say. As for the rest, how would you know if it's good or not if you don't try it? Do you want to try it with me? Xiaochen was really annoyed by her and said impatiently. With me? Lan Xinxin was a little hesitant. She was indeed very worried about Xiaochen's situation, but it didn't seem right to try it with her. She was still a virgin, how could she try it so casually? Besides, what if she got pregnant? Just like her mother, she had a very low status in the family. Therefore, she thought for a moment and said weakly, Why don't I spend some money to find a prostitute for you to try it out? Do you think I can agree? Xiaochen asked. Yeah. Lan Xinxin nodded. That really can't be easily agreed. If we find someone who is sick and gets a more serious infectious disease, it will be even worse. Xiaochen didn't want to talk to this silly girl anymore. Then, how about, I use my hands to help you try it? Lan Xinxin struggled for a long time before she gathered her courage and said, Do I need you to use my hands? I don't have my own hands. Xiaochen said, Okay, you don't have to worry about it. I won't look for you even if I'm crippled, okay? Then I will feel uneasy. You can't really do it, right? Lan Xinxin heard Xiaochen's tone, and it seemed that he was angry, so she asked quickly. Let me see the jade pendant in your hand. Xiaochen had to change the topic. He didn't want to discuss this kind of personal issue with the silly girl. He wasn't familiar with her. Xiaochen felt weird talking about these things. Okay. Lan Xinxin gave the jade pendant to Xiaochen. Do you also understand jade? I know a little bit. Xiaochen took the jade pendant and looked at it in his hand. Indeed, the moment the jade pendant touched his hand, it became incomparably warm. However, Xiaochen felt that it was a little strange. The heat of this thing didn't seem to be anything good. It didn't seem to be the heat emitted from the inside of the jade pendant, but the outer layer was a little hot. Of course, if one wasn't a cultivator, it was difficult for the average person to feel it. Only people with a keen perception like Xiaochen could distinguish it. There was definitely a problem with this jade. Let's not talk about whether the foundation of this jade was real or fake, but this warm jade was definitely fake. Although Xiaochen didn't want to talk to this silly girl, Lan Xinxin, this silly girl was very kind. After all, it was 10 million yuan. Xiaochen didn't want her to be cheated, so he quietly gathered a samadhi true fire in his hand and quickly burned the surface of the jade pendant. This action was completed in an instant. It was very fast, so naturally no one noticed it. Sure enough, after Xiao Qin burned the jade pendant, the previous warm feeling disappeared. Xiao Qin sneered in his heart. Sure enough, if his guess was right, I'm afraid that Brother Qin smeared a material on the jade pendant. This material would heat up when it touched the hand to disguise it as warm jade. This layer of material was burned by Xiao Qian's samadhi true fire, so this jade pendant also became an ordinary jade pendant. It didn't have the warm effect. This jade isn't warm. There's no special feeling. Xiao Qin pretended to be puzzled. Isn't this an ordinary jade pendant? What function does it have? No, it's warm jade. Lan Xinxin said as she took the jade pendant back from Xiao Qian's hand, but she was suddenly stunned. The previous warm feeling really disappeared. She suddenly had some doubts. Brother Qin, this jade pendant isn't warm anymore? Brother Qin's heart suddenly dropped. It shouldn't be. The layer on the jade pendant, even if you touch it with your hand, won't fall off in a short time. At least it can last for a month or two. Why is it gone? He subconsciously took Lan Xinxin's jade pendant, and his face suddenly changed. Sure enough, this jade pendant didn't have a warm feeling, but it became extremely cold. It wasn't warm jade anymore. Although Brother Qin didn't know what the problem was, he was very unwilling to see this business go down the drain. It wasn't easy for him to meet a rich customer like Lan Xinxin, and she was in urgent need of warm jade. If he couldn't cheat her money, he would really regret it. The reason why he knew that Lan Xinxin was rich was because of his observation of people's words and expressions. Lan Xinxin had the temperament of a lady from a wealthy family. Although she looked silly, this temperament couldn't be changed. Also, Lan Xinxin's watch couldn't be bought without a few million. This watch was a gift from Lan Xinxin's father for her 18th birthday. It was also the only valuable thing on Lan Xinxin. However, it was seen by Brother Qin, who had sharp eyes. How could a person who could wear such an expensive watch be poor? Although Lan Xinxin's clothes were very ordinary. Therefore he wasn't reconciled. He saw that 10 million was in the bag, but it was gone in the blink of an eye. He gritted his teeth and prepared to cause trouble. Are you guys in the same group? Did you guys collude to break my jade pendant? Ah? Lan Xinxin was shocked. She didn't expect Brother Qin, who was very kind a moment ago, to become fierce in the blink of an eye. How can this jade pendant be broken? It's not broken. Why did it fail? It was warm just now. You tested it yourself, but after you guys touched it, it became like this. It was either broken by you guys or it was replaced. Brother Qin snorted and said, You know what you have done. Do you think I'm easy to bully? Let me tell you, I have people in Tianfang province. If you don't pay, don't think about leaving the airport. If you lose an arm or a leg, don't blame me for being merciless. He was also anxious. The money was going to fly away. He simply shed all pretense of cordiality. Since he couldn't cheat anymore, he directly changed to threats and extortion. Lan Xinxin was scared by Brother Qin. She was about to cry. I really didn't do anything. Is it interesting? Xiao Qin frowned. He couldn't stand it anymore. He exposed the problem of the jade pendant. If this Brother Qin gave up, Xiao Qin wouldn't have the intention to find trouble with him. After all, he was just a small liar. Xiao Qin couldn't be bothered with this kind of person. But now this person was even threatening and intimidating. Xiao Qin was a little sick of it. You know what is going on in your heart. Don't make a fuss. Calm down. If you continue to be a busybody, I won't let you get off the plane. Shout. Brother Qin didn't expect Xiao Qin to actually speak. What? Are you trying to be a hero saving the beauty? But is there any use in saving the beauty? That thing is broken, right? Don't think that I didn't hear it just now. You're just a little eunuch. Go to the side and don't be a busybody. The jade just now became like this in my hands. If there's anything, look for me. Xiao Qin directly said to Lan Xinxin, You better go to 36A. I'll sit here with you. Kid, are you trying to be unreasonable with me? Brother Qin wasn't afraid of Xiao Qin at all. He whistled. Suddenly, the two macho men in the front and back stood up from their seats and stared at Xiao Qin coldly. You're trying to cause trouble on the plane, right? Xiao Qin glanced at Brother Qin and slapped him. He directly sent him flying into the plane's aisle. The two macho men didn't expect Xiao Qin to dare to make the first move in this situation. They were suddenly stunned. If it was during normal times when their fraud was exposed, as long as the two of them stood there, wouldn't the other people obediently compromise and beg for mercy? But who would have thought that Xiao Qin didn't play by the rules? He was quite strong and with one slap he made the other person tumble. Kid, are you looking for death? The two macho men directly jumped over and wanted to make a move on Xiao Chen. Idiot. Xiao Chen grabbed the hair of the two men with one hand and slammed them hard. The two macho men were directly hit until they saw stars and fainted on the aisle. Lan Xinxin was dumbfounded. She didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so fierce. He just casually hit the three macho men until they lost their ability to move. Chapter 6:11. At this time, the flight attendants on the plane also noticed that there was a fight and quickly called for the police. Two police officers quickly ran over and glared at Xiao Chen. Why are you fighting on the plane? These three are swindlers. Arrest them. After the plane lands, send them to the airport police station. Xiao Chen said to the two policemen. The two policemen were stunned. They did not believe Xiao Chen's words and looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously. At this time, Xia Shibin had the awareness of being a lackey. He rushed forward and pulled one of the policemen to the side. Then he took out his ID and said, "Officer, I'm from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. That's our team leader. This is my ID." The policeman was stunned. After carefully looking at Xia Shibin's ID, he nodded his head and believed him. Since Xiao Chen was the team leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, then his words were naturally convincing. He quickly whispered a few words to the other policemen and took the three people on the ground away. On the other hand, Lan Xinxin was a little puzzled. Why did these two policemen believe Xiao Chen's words? He didn't even ask much and just took them away? Could it be that these three were repeat offenders so the police immediately recognized that there was a problem with them? Yes, that must be it, Lan Xinxin thought. These things came and went quickly. In the blink of an eye they had calmed down. Even the passengers on the plane did not understand what was going on. Although everyone saw the fight, the three of them were quickly taken away by the police. They were all discussing whether or not the three of them were wanted criminals. Why are you fine? Lan Xinxin was a little strange. It seemed like Xiao Chen had beaten him up, but nothing had happened. The police seemed to trust him a lot. Do you want something to happen to me? Xiao Chen asked. That's not it. Lan Xinxin quickly shook her head and said, Thank you very much. I was almost deceived. I really didn't know that you were a rich person. You actually have 10 million? If I had known earlier, I would have asked you for 10 million yuan just now. Xiao Chen said. Then there's really a problem there? Lan Xinxin was shocked and looked at Xiao Chen worriedly. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. How could this silly girl not know what was a joke? No wonder she was so gullible. That big brother Chen specifically chose her. No problem for the time being, Xiao Chen said. Oh, then I'll tell you my cell phone number. If you have a problem there, be sure to call me. I'll help you find a way. Lan Xinxin said quickly and told him her cell phone number. Okay. Xiao Chen wrote down the number, but he definitely wouldn't call her because of this. What about you? Lan Xinxin asked again. Forget about me. If there's nothing else, I won't look for you. Xiao Chen didn't want to contact this silly girl again. No way. If there's something wrong there and you're embarrassed to tell me, I will feel bad. Lan Xinxin said quickly. Xiao Chen had no choice but to tell her his way number. I always change my cell phone number. You can add this. And then I will add it when the plane lands. Lan Xinxin nodded. Thank you very much just now. I was almost blackmailed by that person. It's nothing. It's just a convenience. Xiao Chen waved his hand. Right, what's your name? I still don't know yet. My name is Lan Xinxin. Lan Xinxin introduced herself. Also, what are you doing in Tianfang province? Where are you from? Are you from Songning? Xiao Chang. I'm from Songning. I'm going to do something. Xiao Chen answered briefly. I see. I'm going to Tianfang province to play. If you have nothing to do, why don't you come with me? Lan Xinxin invited. Go with you? Xiao Chen was stunned. Are you really stupid or pretending to be stupid? You were almost cheated just now. You still want to invite a strange man to play with you. Aren't you afraid of being cheated into bed? Lan Xinxin didn't expect Xiao Chen to say this. I think you are a good person. I hurt you, but you didn't take the opportunity to threaten me. If it were Brother Chen, he would probably ask me for a huge compensation, right? Moreover, I said that I would help you check, but you didn't want to. I think you are a gentleman. You wouldn't lie to me to sleep, right? Xiao Chen listened to Lan Xinxin's analysis. He didn't know if it was because her logical thinking was strong or because she was too simple. It was a miracle that she could live to this age without anything happening to her. Lan Xinxin, let me give you a piece of advice. I'm not a good person. A silly girl like you is more likely to arouse a man's desire to conquer. If you keep doing this, I might really push you down. Xiaoqin said directly, don't trust others so easily. If you don't know them, do you know what they are thinking? And then, my brother used to accompany me out, but he has something to do this time. Also, I can tell that he doesn't want to play with me. Every day he thinks about fighting for power and how to be the young master of the family. He thinks that I'm too childish. Lan Xinxin said gloomily, but I know that brother Xiao Chang is a good person. If you were really a bad person, you wouldn't have said so much to me, and you wouldn't have reminded me. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes bad people also need to disguise themselves. Xiaoqin said, look at brother Qin just now. His attitude is completely different from before. It's like he's a different person. What do you think? This. Lan Xinxin thought about it. It was indeed the case. Brother Qin was very warm and acted very generous and approachable. In fact, it was to carry out his scam plan. Thinking of this, Lan Xinxin was a little silent. It's really difficult to get along with people. Can't you be more honest? You better not go out by yourself in the future. Hurry up and go home. Find a good person to marry. Stay at home and take care of your husband and children. Don't go out and run around. It's too dangerous outside. Xiaoqin didn't know what to say, so he could only persuade her like this. Oh. Lan Xinxin nodded. She tilted her head and frowned slightly. She looked like she couldn't figure it out. Xiaoqin ignored her and read the newspaper on his own as he passed the rest of the journey. As for Lan Xinxin, she could also tell that Xiaoqin didn't want to continue talking to her. She could only listen to her MP3 player in boredom. The plane landed. She took out her phone and added Xiaoqin's Weixin. When she got off the plane, Lan Xinxin still greeted Xiaoqin. Brother Xiao, I'm leaving. You have to contact me. This sentence happened to be heard by Song Huawu. Xia Shibin quickly blinked at Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin was inexplicable when he heard Song Huawu ask, who is she? Are you hooking up with a girl on the plane? Aren't there any beautiful women at home? Xiaoqin was stunned. You mean Xing Menjing? Xia Shibin found it a little funny, but it wasn't appropriate to interrupt. Your eyesight isn't good. Who have you been sleeping with every day recently? Song Huawu glared at Xiaoqin. Seeing that he still had an inexplicable expression, she suddenly stomped her feet in anger. Meh. You're Yang Jianan now, okay? You should be flirting with me, not flirting with other little girls. Oh. Xiaoqin suddenly realized. He suddenly remembered that his identity was indeed Yang Jianan. Yang Jianan pursued Song Huawu very closely, but why did Song Huawu's attitude just now seem a little off? It seems like she's jealous? What's with the oh? If you don't want to expose yourself, be more attentive. Quick, help me carry my bag. Song Huawu handed her bag to Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin and Xia Shibin didn't have any luggage. Only Song Huawu had a big bag of things. Men and women were different when they went out. They still had to bring all kinds of clothes. Even Song Huawu was no exception. The three of them called a taxi at the airport and went to the venue of the fellowship party. The reception was in a 5-star hotel. This was a hotel operated by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's headquarters in Tianfang Province. Usually, there were some meetings, get-togethers, and people from the branch who came on business trips. At other times, it would also be open to the public and earn some mission funds. However, the fellowship party hadn't started yet. It would only be held tomorrow night. The few of them arrived first, so they naturally booked a room and checked in. Here, there was no need for Xiaoqin and Song Huawu to stay in the same room. It wasn't good to be too intimate. The three of them went upstairs and settled down in the room. They prepared to eat something. There was a buffet that was provided all day and could be enjoyed by guests at any time. Due to the special nature of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's mission, they didn't have to come at a certain time. Everyone didn't have a regular meal, so they set up such a 24-hour restaurant. As for the other staff working at the headquarters, they could also come here to eat their meals. After all, it was sometimes late at night when they got off work. It wasn't easy to find a place to eat. Even if there was one, it might not be to their liking. In the spacious restaurant, there were 2 neat rows of buffet tables in the middle. They were filled with all kinds of alcohol and delicacies. There was a wide variety of them and it was very complete. It was as if the special snacks of various places could be found here. When Xiaoqin smelled the aroma of the food, his appetite was immediately aroused. He had only been given some small food on the plane, but it wasn't enough. He was hungry too, so he picked up the plate and started to put things in it. In the restaurant, on the side of the floor-to-ceiling window was the table and chair area. At that moment, many people were sitting there eating and chatting. However, there were a few young people sitting at a table near the corner. When Xiao Chen and the others came in, they immediately saw them. "Brother Da, isn't that Song Huawo?" One of the young men immediately said. "Yes, I saw her, but why is she talking and laughing with Yang Jianan? Didn't they have a bad relationship in the past?" The person called Brother Da's expression immediately turned ugly. He was also a suitor of Song Huawu. Previously, although he knew that Yang Jianan had been pursuing Song Huawu didn't respond at all. Therefore, he didn't treat Yang Jianan as a competitor. Chapter 6:12. In his opinion, as long as Song Huawu didn't like Yang Jianan, he would be able to win her over sooner or later. But today he felt a sense of crisis. This won't do. Looking at the situation, did the relationship between the two become better? Yeah, I also heard that the relationship between them is very bad. In the past, they didn't go together at the annual gathering. Yang Jianan was with Xia Shibin. The young man nodded. "Little Ma, let's go and say hello." Brother Da couldn't sit still. He stood up and said to the young man. "Okay." Little Ma naturally followed Brother Da's lead. Xiao Qin, Song Huawu, and Xia Shibin just took the food and found a seat to sit down. Then they saw someone come over to say hello. Seeing the person, Song Huawu frowned slightly. Xia Shibin lowered his voice and said to Xiao Qin, "Brother Yang, your love rival is here." "Love rival?" Xiao Qin was slightly stunned. "What love rival?" "The man in front is called Pang Fengde. He is the leader of the newcomer training group of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. The one behind him is his follower who is the same role as me. His name is Ma Jisheng." Xia Shibin quickly introduced. "Newcomer training group leader? What position is that?" However, after Xiao Chen asked before Xia Shibin could answer, the two people came over. "Huawu team leader Yang, you are here?" Pang Fengde deliberately put Yang Jianan at the back. Obviously, he didn't put Yang Jianan in his eyes. As for his identity as the deputy team leader of Team B, he probably didn't know yet. "Huawu, why didn't you say hello? I'm going to pick you up." Pang Fengde's words and actions were very appropriate and passionate. However, he didn't look at Xiao Chen at all. His eyes were fixed on Song Huo. "Who is this?" Xiao Chen stood up. He wanted to say hello to this colleague, but he didn't expect that he didn't even look at him. He was a little angry. "You motherf asterisk cur. I'm giving you face. Who do you think you are?" When Song Huawu heard Xiao Chen's words, her heart skipped a beat. She didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so disrespectful. Wasn't this going to ruin their relationship? What's more, Yang Jianan used to retreat whenever he saw Pang Fengde. He wasn't Pang Fengde's opponent at all. Now that he suddenly became so arrogant, wasn't there a problem? Xiao Chen's words also surprised Pang Fengde. "What's wrong with this guy today? How dare he challenge me?" The follower called Xiaoma also widened his eyes. He poked Pang Fengde lightly and said, "Brother Da, how did this kid become so awesome? Is there a problem?" When Xiao Chen saw that Song Huawu was also looking at him with such a surprised expression, he immediately knew that it was not good. He reckoned that Yang Jianan must have been very afraid of this person in front of him in the past. Otherwise, they wouldn't have such an expression. But how would Xiao Chen know this before? He saw that Yang Jianan was so awesome wherever he went, and he had Xia Zhili as his backer. He thought that Yang Jianan was awesome wherever he went. It seemed that he was wrong. However, he also reacted quickly. "Huawu, doesn't he know that I'm now the deputy leader of Team B of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? I'm waiting to take over now. Don't tell me he doesn't know?" "Ah. Yeah. Our brother Yang is now the deputy leader of Team B. He will be the leader soon." Xia Shibin also immediately said in cooperation. Xiao Chen's explanation was reasonable. Sure enough, Pang Fengde's face showed a look of realization. It turned out that Yang Jianan was so awesome because he was appointed as the deputy leader of Team B. He really didn't know. After all, this matter hadn't been spread yet, but he knew that Yang Jianan and Song Huawu went on a mission a while ago and won a great victory. It must be because of this. He, deputy leader of Team B? Is it amazing? Pang Fengde smiled faintly and said disdainfully, "I can tell you that even some of the people in Team A graduated under me. Yang Jianan, don't tell me that you think you're amazing just because you're promoted? Have Brother Da, he's just overconfident. If he's capable, fight with Brother Da. Won't you beat him up?" Xiaoma chuckled at the side. "It's easy and fun for me to beat you, but I don't have time to bother with you." Since Xiao Chen was already arrogant, he had to persist. If he backed out halfway, it would be even more suspicious. "Huawu, don't bother with him. Let's eat." Great, Yang Jianan, you're great. Pang Fengde saw that Xiao Qin ignored him and he suddenly became furious. Tonight, in the hotel's basement practice room, I want to challenge you. Do you dare? In the past, every time Pang Fengde mentioned a challenge, Yang Jianan would be scared ***. He would either find an excuse to avoid it or he would simply hide behind Xia Zhili. He didn't dare to accept the challenge, so Pang Fengde directly proposed a challenge. Now they were in the buffet restaurant. Although he was annoyed, he didn't lose his mind. If he made a move here, he would definitely be punished. Whether he won or lost, he had already lost. I'm not going. Xiao Qin shook his head and said, I want to eat. What? Yang Jianan, are you afraid? When Pang Fengde heard it, he raised his head proudly. With an arrogant look, he looked down on Xiao Qin and said, weren't you quite arrogant just now? Why did you become a tortoise when I mentioned a challenge? Xiao Qin refused and even Xia Shibin was stunned. He looked at him with some doubts. Xia Shibin knew Xiao Qin's temper better. Isn't this guy very overbearing and never admits defeat? Moreover, he had a strong look just now. Why did he suddenly shrink back? At this time, Xiao Qin said indifferently, I'm not afraid of you. Do you think I should challenge just because you say so? Why should I listen to you? This? Xiao Qin's words made Pang Fengde speechless. Thinking about it, what Xiao Qin said was right. Why should I listen to you? However, he still said, don't say these useless things. Just say if you dare or not. I dare. After Xiao Qin finished speaking, he began to eat. This made Pang Fengde very angry. If you dare, then why don't you continue? I waited for you for a long time and you're eating? So he couldn't help but ask, since you dare, then let's challenge at 10 o'clock tonight in the practice room below the hotel. See you there. Oh, I'm not going, said Xiao Qin. You. Pang Fengde was furious. Yang Jianan, are you playing with me? Don't think that I don't dare to do anything to you in the restaurant. When we get out of the restaurant, do you believe that I will secretly kill you? Oh, I don't believe it, said Xiao Qin. Can't you say 2 more words? Pang Fengde didn't expect Yang Jianan to be so irritating. Is this guy on the wrong medicine? In the past he would hide when he saw me. Why is he so arrogant today? Even if he is the deputy leader of Team B of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he doesn't have to be like this, right? Oh, ***ck your mother, said Xiao Qin. Why ya. Pang Fengde jumped 3 feet high and pointed at Xiao Qin. He shouted angrily, I want to challenge you to a life and death battle. Do you dare? The so-called life and death battle was actually a rule of the martial arts world. Ordinary people didn't know about it, but the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was considered half a martial arts organization. Usually, many people's style was also martial arts. As for the life and death battle, it was a life and death battle written by one party to the other. As long as one accepted the battle, then one could ignore life and death, but one could also refuse. However, the party who refused could not appear in front of the other party in the future. He had to hide and be a coward for the rest of his life. Oh, okay, said Xiao Qin. I know you don't dare. In the future, don't let me see you again and don't pester Song Huawu. Ah. Pang Fengde was stunned. What did you say just now? Oh, I said that you are deaf, said Xiao Qin. ****. Pang Fengde suppressed his anger and said, well, since you agreed, then let's have a life and death battle at 10 o'clock in the practice room below the hotel. See you there. Oh, I'm not going, said Xiao Qin. You dare to fool me? Pang Fengde was about to go berserk. No. Xiao Qin wiped his mouth and finally finished eating. Then he said, what I hate the most is what others say. You said 10 o'clock, so it's 10 o'clock? I'm not free. If you want a challenge, do it now. Also, you said it's in the underground practice room, so it's in the underground practice room? I have a phobia of low altitude. I don't like basements. As soon as Xiao Qin said this, the people next to him were all very speechless. What Xiao Qin said at the beginning was a little reasonable, but the phobia of low altitude was obviously nonsense. They had heard of people who were afraid of heights, but they had never heard of people who were afraid of low altitude. However, Xia Shibin didn't care about this. He jumped out and directly said, yes, why do you say it's at what time? It's at what place? Our team leader's time is precious. Well, then you say the time and where. Is that okay? Pang Fengde wasn't eloquent. He was speechless after being said by Xiao Qin. Although he was annoyed, he felt that it was reasonable, so he could only ask patiently. I think it's on the rooftop of the hotel. After I kill you, I can still see the night view. Xiao Qin said, it's just right. I'm full. Let's go and digest the food. Okay, if you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Pang Fengde didn't care about those things with Xiao Qin. As long as the goal was achieved, what was the point of letting him be eloquent? Oh, do we have to sign an agreement? When you die, what if someone comes to settle the account with me? Said Xiao Qin. That can't be done. There are so many witnesses. Pang Fengde said, as for you, I think you have to write a written agreement. Oh, then let's do it in duplicate. Both sides sign it. Xiao Qin said, this is also fair and just. Okay, little Ma, you draft a life and death agreement. Pang Fengde said to little Ma. Okay, brother Da. Little Ma nodded and lowered his head to draft the life and death agreement. He was familiar with these things. In the newcomer training group, there were often some trainees who challenged each other. Chapter 6:13. Their principle was not to stop it but to encourage it. This was because only students who had truly experienced life and death could successfully graduate and be qualified as agents. After all, what they did was some bloody missions. Soon, Xiaoma wrote 2 life and death contracts and placed them in front of Xiao Qin and Pang Fengde. Okay, sign it. Pang Fengde sneered and looked at Xiao Qin. Oh, I won't sign it, said Xiao Qin. What? Pang Fengde was mad. You sign it first, then I'll sign it. Xiao Qin said calmly, why should I sign it just because you tell me to? Fine. Pang Fengde snorted and ignored Xiao Qin. He was already numb. He signed it and then looked at Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin also signed the life and death contract and said, okay, Xia Shibin, help me keep a copy. Let's go up. Hee, but don't worry, when the time comes, if you kneel and beg for mercy, I can consider not beating you to death. Pang Fengde raised his head provocatively at Xiao Qin and said, however, disability is inevitable. Oh, since you are so kind, then I won't kill you, said Xiao Qin. You have a sharp tongue. Pang Fengde curled his lips. What? You won't be willing if I don't kill you? Xiao Qin snorted. Fine, then leave it to fate. Yang Jianan, if you have the ability, then kill us. If you don't have the ability, then don't brag, okay? Ma Jisheng was on the side and said disdainfully, don't run away in fear later. Xiao Qin shrugged his shoulders indifferently and said, I won't run, but I'm afraid that he will run. I guess once I make a move, he will disappear. Pang Fengde was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He wasn't a match for Xiao Qin in terms of words, and he was constantly being mocked by Xiao Qin. He couldn't help but angrily say, what else can you do besides shooting off your mouth? Xiao Qin said with a smile, I'll beat you to death. Okay, the elevator will be here soon. This elevator can go straight to the rooftop. At that time we will compete on the rooftop. Pang Fengde didn't want to argue with Xiao Qin, so he said this. Oh, it's so slow to take the elevator. Xiao Qin looked at the emergency staircase on the side. Let's take the stairs. When Ma Jisheng heard this, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. I say, Yang Jianan, you haven't even started fighting and your brain is already failing? Can the stairs be faster than the elevator? What if I say yes? Xiao Qin asked back to provoke him. If there is, I will eat the elevator. Ma Jisheng said disdainfully. Even if you eat the hotel building, it has nothing to do with me. I have no benefits at all. Xiao Qin said. Then what do you want? Ma Jisheng finally found a loophole in what he thought was Xiao Qin's words, so he directly grasped it. Meh. How about this? You take the elevator and I take the stairs. If I'm faster than you, you give me some money? Right, Xia Shibin, how much money does this guy have? Xiao Qin squinted and asked sneakily. He usually hangs around behind Pang Fengde. His salary and bonuses are all saved. He doesn't need to spend much. It's estimated that he has 5 million yuan. Xia Shibin estimated based on his own situation. Okay, then 5 million yuan. If I lose, I will also give you 5 million yuan. How about it? Xiao Qin laughed. Ma Jisheng calculated for a moment. The elevator in this hotel was the kind that went straight up. The speed was very fast. Even if someone called for the elevator halfway, it wouldn't take much time. If Xiao Qin climbed to the 40th floor from here, he was afraid that he would be tired. He definitely couldn't win. Moreover, in this way Xiao Qin's physical strength would be consumed. In the next competition with Pang Fengde, he would definitely not have an advantage. So why not? Sure enough, Pang Fengde also calculated this point. He said directly to Ma Jisheng, bet with him. If you lose, it's on me. Okay, Yang Jianan. Since you are willing, try it. After Ma Jisheng finished speaking, he pointed at Xia Shibin and said, but in a while when we get in the elevator, you are not allowed to mess around. You can't press the button on every floor. That is cheating. Seeing that Xiao Qin didn't care, Xia Shibin said, No problem. Okay, the elevator is here. Let's split up. Xiao Chen saw the elevator light up and walked to the stairwell. At the moment when the elevator door opened, he also rushed into the safety stairwell. The few of them entered the elevator and pressed the button for the top floor. To Pang Fengde and Ma Jisheng's surprise, no one seemed to be calling the elevator at this time. Their elevator whizzed all the way to the 10th floor without stopping even once. Aha, this time Yang Jianan will definitely lose. Ma Jisheng was so happy that his face was blooming. Then brother De, the 5 million that you won? It's yours. Pang Fengde waved his hand and said confidently. In front of Song Huawu he had to be more generous. Song Huawu graduated from the newcomer training group. When he and Song Huawu were in the same batch, he always had a good impression of Song Huawu. Moreover, the most important thing was that Pang Fengde could also see that their old team leader instructor seemed to be related to Song Huawu. He didn't know the specifics, but if he could be related to Song Huawu, he would definitely be successful in the future. Because this relationship was very secretive, others didn't know about it. Even he only found out about it occasionally. Therefore, he deliberately performed well and won the old team leader's appreciation, which was why he was promoted to the current team leader. He didn't know if Yang Jianan knew about this situation, but he couldn't ask. However, all these years he was determined to get Song Huawu, but because of this relationship he didn't dare to use force. Otherwise wouldn't he, Pang Fengde, get the woman he liked? However, he didn't dare to. Even if he was already an expert at the 4th level of martial arts, he didn't dare to be so rash. The old team leader could still kill him with a slap. The elevator reached the top floor. When the elevator door opened, Pang Fengde, who was the strongest and had the highest status, went down first. He walked out of the elevator proudly, and Ma Jisheng followed closely behind. However, as soon as he walked out of the elevator, Pang Fengde's crotch was kicked. Before the elevator door opened completely, he felt a sharp pain in his lower body. He immediately covered his crotch and squatted on the ground. The pain made his head full of sweat. The people who saw this scene from behind were all stunned. They never thought that Xiao Chen would actually be standing outside the elevator at this moment, calm and unruffled. What kind of speed was this? Not only was he faster than the elevator, but he also arrived early and stood at the door waiting to ambush them. This speed was simply unimaginable. Hey, didn't I tell you just now? You guys aren't as fast as me, but you still don't believe me. Hurry up and give me the money. Xiao Chen directly walked past Pang Fengde and extended his hand to Ma Jisheng, who was standing next to him in shock. This. Ma Jisheng originally thought that he would win for sure, but how did he lose? His smile was a little frozen. He looked at Pang Fengde, who was groaning in pain on the ground. He didn't want to ask for money, so he suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He was in a dilemma. Xia Shibin and Song Huawu looked at each other at this time. The corners of their mouths were raised, and their faces showed a speechless smile at the same time. Xiao Chen really won, but they didn't understand how Xiao Chen's speed was so fast. It was simply indescribable. What? You don't want to admit it? Xiao Chen squinted at Ma Jisheng. Do you want me to give you a kick too? Ma Jisheng looked at Pang Fengde's miserable appearance on the ground, and suddenly his head was full of sweat. If he were to be kicked, wouldn't he die from the pain? His strength was much worse than Pang Fengde's. A kick could probably cripple him. He didn't dare to try it casually. I will give it to you later. I don't have my bank card with me now, Ma Jisheng said. Oh, okay, then I will give you a little more time. That Pang Fengde, do you still want to compete? If you don't, I will take it as you admit defeat. Stay away from me in the future. Xiao Chen pointed at Pang Fengde on the ground and shouted. Ma Jisheng was a little speechless. I have seen shameless people, but I have never seen such a shameless person. You have already kicked him like that and you still want him to compete? Can't you let him rest for a while? Sure enough, Pang Fengde was also trembling with anger. His body's internal strength was surging, and white smoke was coming out of his head. Obviously he was extremely angry. Oh my god, what's going on? Xiao Chen looked at Pang Fengde and said strangely, why is there smoke? What kind of strange martial art is this? It even has the function of spontaneous combustion? Why? Pang Fengde jumped directly from the ground. Yang Jianan, I will fight with you. Don't. You put out the fire first. Don't burn it later. If you burn the hotel, I will be implicated. Xiao Chen retreated again and again. If you can't burn the hotel, it's not good to burn the flowers and plants. Humph, are you afraid? Seeing Xiao Chen retreating again and again, Pang Fengde regained his confidence at this moment. He felt that Xiao Chen was afraid of him. Otherwise, why would he retreat? This is just a villain who likes to talk and sneak attack. Thinking of this, Pang Fengde pressed forward step by step. He directly forced Xiao Qin to the edge of the top floor. Seeing that he had nowhere to retreat, he would fall down if he retreated any further. "Haha, Yang Jianan, are you going to jump off the building?" Pang Fengde said with a sneer. "Of course not." Xiao Qin instantly changed his direction. How could his speed be compared to that of an ordinary martial artist? He made a big circle and went behind Pang Fengde. Then 2 compressed wind balls were released from his hands. The compressed wind balls instantly exploded and turned into 2 hurricanes, rushing towards Pang Fengde. Pang Fengde was just approaching Xiao Qin, and he was very close to the edge of the top floor. So, when he saw Xiao Qin run away, he felt 2 huge hurricanes sweeping towards him as soon as he turned his head. He was pushed a few steps back and he staggered. With a scream, he fell directly from the 48th floor. I helped you to put out the fire. Why did you jump off the building?" Xiao Qin shook his head, and his face was inexplicable. This person is really strange. Sure enough, I was right. When I made a move, he disappeared. Chapter 6:14. The wind ball didn't actually cause much damage to the enemy. Xiao Qin rarely used it in battle. It was only recently researched. It could only push people away or roll them up, but it couldn't hurt the enemy. However, when used in this environment, it could achieve miraculous effects. Ma Jisheng was dumbstruck as he looked at Pang Fengde, who had fallen from the rooftop. He hurriedly rushed over, wanting to see how Pang Fengde was doing. However, when he ran to the edge, he was afraid that Xiao Qin would hit him again. With Pang Fengde's strength, he probably wouldn't die from falling from such a high building. However, if it was Ma Jisheng, it would be hard to say. This was the 48th floor. "Stop the fight. I have already lost the bet. I will give you the money later. You can't do anything to me." Ma Jisheng shouted at Xiao Qin. "Oh, okay." Xiao Qin said indifferently, "You aren't on fire. I don't have to waste my energy to help you put out the fire." Ma Jisheng hurried to the edge of the rooftop and looked down. He found that Pang Fengde had fallen into the grass below with his arms wide open. His body was deep in the soil and he didn't know if he was dead or alive. He was so scared that he quickly ran back and wanted to take the elevator downstairs to see the situation. At this time, there was already a commotion downstairs. After all, there weren't only people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau staying here. There were also some ordinary guests. They were scared when they saw someone suddenly jump off the building. "Xiao Qin, did you really?" Song Huawu couldn't help but be worried. "It's okay. He won't die. He is a 4th-level martial artist. How can he die so easily? At most, he will be disabled." Xiao Qin said indifferently, "Is this person very powerful?" He also has a backer in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and his backer is also someone who has helped me. Song Huawu suddenly felt a little embarrassed. "It's the instructor I told you about. He also values Pang Fengde very much. He also hopes that I can be with him." "Really?" Xiao Qin frowned. He didn't expect there to be such a relationship. He didn't want Song Huawu to be put in a difficult position. He thought that Pang Fengde was just a simple pursuer of Song Huawu, but now it seemed that there was a connection. "It's fine. Everyone knows that I'm Xia Zhili's man, and I had conflicts with him in the past." "That's true." Song Huawu nodded. "Forget it. As long as he doesn't die, he should be fine." Of course, the 3 of them weren't here to watch the night view. Since there was nothing else, they took the elevator downstairs, but they didn't go to see Pang Fengde. Instead, they returned to the room. Just as Xiao Qin had said, Pang Fengde had not died. It was just that the bones in his 4 limbs were broken. He was a 4th-layer martial master, so how could he have died so easily? Especially when he fell on a soft place like the lawn. "Brother De, are you okay?" Ma Jisheng quickly helped Pang Fengde up. "I'm fine." Although Pang Fengde was covered in dirt and his limbs were in pain, he was the leader of the newcomer training group of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Naturally, he couldn't be weak at this time. Nearby, many people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau had come to watch the show. "That's good." Ma Jisheng breathed a sigh of relief. Although Pang Fengde looked disheveled, it was good that he was fine. "Help me to the hospital," Pang Fengde whispered in Ma Jisheng's ear. Ma Jisheng's heart tightened, but on the surface he said loudly, "Okay, let's go for supper." As he said that, he helped Pang Fengde leave. The guests of the hotel saw that the person seemed fine, so they didn't continue to watch and dispersed. Pang Fengde went to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's specialized hospital and applied some special medicine used by martial artists. He only had a bone fracture, but there was no fracture. So, after the special medicine was applied, he only needed to tighten the gauze. There was no need to put on a cast. At this time, a man in a black suit pushed open the door of the ward and quickly walked in. He said loudly, "Old Pang, how is it? Is there anything wrong?" "It's old Wang." The person who came was Wang Chake, a good friend of Pang Fingda in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He was also the deputy team leader of Team B. It could be said that he was currently on the same level as Xiao Qin. "Don't mention it. I was tricked." "What happened?" "When I just arrived at the hotel, I heard someone say that you jumped off the building. Although everyone said that you looked fine, some people said that you were forcing yourself. I thought about it, so I came to our hospital. When I asked, you were really here," said Wang Chake. "Xiaoma, tell me." Pang Fingda didn't hide anything from Wang Chake and let Xiaoma speak directly. Xiaoma told him everything that had happened, including how he was tricked by Yang Jianan on the rooftop. "This Yang Jianan has been very active recently," Wang Chake said after listening. "Didn't he just make a contribution and get promoted to the deputy team leader of Team B? How dare he treat you like this?" "Yeah, I'm also very puzzled. However, I heard that he is rushing to take over the position of team leader of Team B. It's understandable that he is arrogant." Pang Fingda frowned and said, "Old Wang, I don't want to criticize you, but haven't you always been fighting for the position of team leader of Team B? Are you willing to give it to someone else?" "Of course I'm not willing, but I heard that Deputy Bureau Chief Xia Zhili will take over Team B after the new year. At that time Team B will be his. That Yang Jianan is his man." Speaking of this, Wang Chake was a little annoyed. He was the veteran deputy team leader of Team B. He thought that this time he would be able to take over the position. However, he didn't expect that someone would come out of nowhere and replace him. "We have to think of something. If we can get Yang Jianan down, it will be good for both of us," Pang Fingda said. "I heard that his relationship with Hua Wu is also very close recently. Old Pang, do you have a good plan?" Wang Chake suddenly became interested. Both of them had benefits, so naturally they wanted to get rid of Yang Jianan. "Not yet, but let's discuss it. As long as he makes some unforgivable mistakes, even if Xia Zhili wants to promote him, it will be impossible." Pang Fingda said, "We can make a fool of him or ruin his reputation. In this way, even if Xia Zhili supports us, it will be useless." "And your idea is right, but how do we do it?" Wang Chake nodded. "Tomorrow at the sorority, let's see if we can make a fool of him. If he makes a fool of himself at the sorority and embarrass himself in front of all the higher-ups of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, then Xia Zhili will no longer protect him." Pang Fengda said, "But I can't think of any way to make a fool of him." "I have a good idea, but I need your backer to send a message." Wang Chake thought about it and said. "What do you say?" Pang Fengda asked quickly. "Let's first release the news that Yang Jianan and Song Huawu are in a relationship, and then do this." Wang Chake said, "With such a character, even if Xia Zhili supports him, it will be impossible for him to be promoted in the short term. At that time your backer will say a few words. He will be finished." "Good idea." Pang Fengda suddenly slapped his thigh happily after listening. "Wonderful." Ouch. He was so excited that he forgot that his bones were broken, so he was in so much pain. Tonight's incident didn't attract too much attention. After all, Pang Fengda, the person involved, didn't say anything. What else could others say? However, everyone was concerned about another rumor. That was, the beauty of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Song Huawu, was in a relationship. The person in love was actually her boss, Yang Jianan, who she didn't like in the past. This news was explosive, but most people were just watching the fun. Anyway, this was just a rumor. Whether it was true or false, the person involved didn't explain. Who knew if it was true or false? The next night, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's sorority officially began. Today, the restaurant didn't accept any guests from outside. It had been booked by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Xiao Qin, Song Huawu, and Xia Shibin walked into the restaurant together. They greeted some colleagues they knew. In fact, Xiao Qin didn't know them, but under the hints of Song Huawu and Xia Shibin, Xiao Qin behaved very appropriately and didn't reveal any flaws. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. When Xiao Qin saw Xia Zhili, he naturally walked over quickly and greeted him. "And Jianan, you're here. Very good. I heard that you and Huawu are already together? Not bad, congratulations. I still have something to do here. You guys go and play with those colleagues first." Xia Zhili smiled and said to Xiao Chen and the others. He was very satisfied that Xiao Chen came to greet him. This also made him proud, letting everyone know that Xiao Chen was his man, and that he had just completed a mission. Xiaoqun didn't say much. He agreed and walked to the food buffet with Song Huawu and Xia Shibin. He planned to take some food and find a place to sit down. Anyway, he didn't know most of the people, so he might as well find a corner to take a nap. Song Huawu wasn't the kind of person who liked to show off. She also took a fruit platter and sat in the corner with Xiaoqun and Xia Shibin. Yesterday. I don't know what happened to Pang Fingda. It seems that no one mentioned it? Song Huawu was a little strange. Since they came in, they hadn't heard any discussion about Pang Fingda. This is secondary. I saw a lot of people looking at us strangely. Also, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia said that we are dating. Who spread this news? What does that mean? Xiaoqun's sharp senses told him that something was amiss. Who cares? Everyone knows that we went to Lego Town in Europe to carry out a mission together. Recently we have been together. It's normal for there to be some rumors. Song Huawu didn't take it seriously. I don't even care. Why do you care? Forget it. It's fine. Xiaoqun shook his head. He felt that there must be something wrong with things. It wasn't like this yesterday, but it became like this today. There must be something strange. However, Xiaoqun only thought about it in his heart. He didn't say much to Song Huawu. Maybe he was thinking too much. If he said it, it would only add to Song Huawu's troubles. Chapter 6:15. Let's eat. The food provided here is really good. Xiaoqun looked at the food in front of him and said with appreciation. Song Huawu nodded and said, that's for sure. Everyone is an elite of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. After a busy year, we have to reward everyone at the year-end party. Wasn't there a reward for the 3 armies in the past? Xiaoqun nodded. When he was about to say something, he saw 3 people walking toward him. One of them walked a little awkwardly. His body was a little stiff like a robot. This person was Pang Fingda, who jumped off the building yesterday. Ma Jisheng was beside him. Xiaoqun didn't know the other person. Brother Yang, the other person is called Wang Chake. He is the deputy leader of Team B. You should remember that you have seen him before. Xia Shibin quickly reminded him. And? Xiaoqun nodded. It turns out that he is also in Team B like me, but why is he together with Pang Fingda? These 2 people seem to have a good relationship. Is he here to vent his anger for Pang Fingda? But it shouldn't be. If I'm just an ordinary member of Team B, it's reasonable. But I'm the deputy leader with him, so I'm on the same level. How can I vent my anger? While the 2 of them were talking, the 3 people had already come in front of Xiaoqun. Deputy Leader Yang, I'm afraid you are very disappointed to see me like this, right? Pang Fingda came over and said in a strange tone. He only had a slight bone fracture, and he had applied special medicine, so he was fine now. It was just that his posture was a little weird. Yeah, I'm really disappointed, said Xiaoqun. Then he deliberately paused and continued, you are the leader of the newcomer training group. You actually got injured when you fell. It's really disappointing. If it were me, I would definitely stand up immediately. Aren't you too weak? You. Pang Fingda listened to Xiaoqun's first sentence and was quite happy. He understood that Xiaoqun would be disappointed to see that he didn't die, but he didn't expect Xiaoqun to be disappointed with his weakness. Also, according to our agreement, although you didn't die yesterday, you lost. You have to hide when you see me in the future. Now that I'm here to attend the party, you can get lost. Xiaoqun stretched out his hand and pointed to the door. This. Pang Fengda's expression was stagnant. He was thinking about how to punish Xiaoqun. He actually forgot about yesterday's challenge. He couldn't help but look a little ugly. Fortunately, he was also a quick-witted person. He looked at Ma Jisheng and let him decide. The reason why Ma Jisheng could become his follower was because he had some brains. Deputy Team Leader Yang, what you said is wrong. Yesterday, you helped our team leader Pang extinguish the fire and then blew him down the building. Your battle was then suspended. Everyone is fine, which means that no one lost. Naturally, the agreement is invalid. Ma Jisheng rolled his eyes and said, I'm right, right? I knew you would be shameless. It's fine. I don't care. Xiaoqun shrugged. Alright, are you done with your fart? If you are done, get lost. Don't affect my mood to eat. Yang Jianan, don't be too arrogant. At this time Wang Chake spoke. He looked at Xiaoqun and said, you and I are both deputy team leaders of Team B of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and I'm a veteran deputy team leader. You should be more humble in front of me. Really? I'm so arrogant. What can you do about it? Xiaoqun raised his eyebrows indifferently and said, I'm aiming for Team B's team leader. Don't worry. With your attitude, I'll be the first to hang you up. You. Wang Chake didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so arrogant. He even dared to say such words unscrupulously. What you? Didn't you see that little Meng used to be in Team C? He offended me. I'll let him do some strenuous and unrewarding tasks. How about it? Look at him. Xiao Chen laughed and said loudly. At this time a young man happened to pass by. It was little Meng. When he heard Xiao Chen's words, he immediately clenched his fists. He was furious. He had heard the recent rumors. Yang Jianan had been promoted to the deputy team leader of Team B, and the leader of Team C had been decided internally to be Song Huawu. As for whether he could continue as the deputy team leader, it was already a problem. When he messed up the task, he came back to reflect on it. Until now he had not completed any tasks. Now that he heard Xiao Chen's words, he knew that he had no hope. He could not help but feel disheartened. Of course, part of it was because Yang Jianan was targeting him. However, little Meng also knew that he did not live up to expectations. Otherwise, why would Yang Jianan complete the same task while he failed? He was still incompetent, so he could not blame others for messing with him. Let's wait and see. Wang Chake's face turned green. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling. However, thinking that Xiao Chen would be finished soon, he suppressed his anger and did not explode. Pang Fengde was also unbearably angry. He turned around and left with Wang Chake with the help of Ma Jisheng. You see, I told you not to come and humiliate yourself, but you insisted on coming. Wang Chake was a little depressed. Let's just implement the plan. You had to show him that you were fine, but in the end you got mocked, didn't you? Old Wang, I didn't expect this to happen either. Pang Fengde was also extremely depressed. Damn, who knew that this kid was so sharp-tongued. But he won't be jumping around for long. That's true. Two team leaders, calm down. There will be a good show soon. Ma Jisheng chuckled. And little Ma, have you arranged everything? Pang Fengde asked. Don't worry, it's all arranged. Ma Jisheng nodded. The three of them were not in a hurry. They found another corner and sat down. From here they could see the entire situation on Xiao Chen's side. The fraternity party began very quickly. The higher-ups of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau gave speeches one by one, affirming and encouraging everyone's work over the past year. They also commended the various departments and those who had achieved good results. When Xia Jisheng spoke, he emphasized on praising Xiao Chen. However, what surprised Xiao Chen was that the director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau did not appear. When the other deputy director Song spoke, Song Huawu's expression was obviously a little excited. Xiao Chen could roughly infer that this deputy director Song should be the person who adopted Song Huawu. This deputy director Song's ranking was even higher than Xia Jisheng's because the higher the ranking, the later they would appear to speak. Deputy Director Song was in charge of all the training work of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, but he also emphasized on praising Pang Fengde. This also confirmed that he was undoubtedly Pang Fengde's backer. After these higher-ups spoke one by one, it was free time for the fraternity party. These higher-ups separated and went around the venue to greet their subordinates. The atmosphere was lively. However, at this moment, a woman in a dress rushed into the hall of the fraternity party. Under everyone's shocked gazes, she rushed towards Xiao Chen's table with large strides. To be honest, Xiao Chen was also extremely stunned. What was this person trying to do? When the woman ran over, she pointed at Xiao Chen and shouted, Yang Jianan, you're really good. You don't want me anymore, do you? I'm already pregnant with your child. We agreed to get married next year, but you actually want to marry your colleague in order to curry favor with the rich and powerful, right? I heard that your colleague has a powerful background? Who are you? Xiao Chen frowned, but he didn't look at the woman. Instead, he shifted his gaze to Pang Fengde. However, the three of them looked like they were watching a show. They couldn't see any problems. Yang Jianan, you actually don't recognize me? The woman was furious. She pointed at Song Huawu with a trembling finger and said, This is that vixen, right? Let me tell you, I'm Yang Jianan's girlfriend and I'm already pregnant. Stop fantasizing. At this time, most of the people in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau had the mentality of watching a good show. However, Deputy Director Song's face was a little dark. He walked over quickly and shouted at Xiao Chen, Yang Jianan, what the hell is going on? Everyone knew that Song Huawu was raised by him, so Deputy Director Song took good care of her. However, only a few people like Yang Jianan knew about this unknown relationship. Seeing that Deputy Director Song was standing up for him, Xiao Chen was basically certain that today's matter was caused by Pang Fengde and the others. However, Xiao Chen wasn't nervous. He looked at the woman and said unhurriedly, I said, do you know me? Wow, Yang Jianan, we have been together for 3 years. I can recognize your face even if it turns into ashes. The woman yelled. Hee hee. Xiaochen laughed. The people next to him didn't know what was going on, but some people felt that something was wrong. They heard Xiaochen continue to say, my face? I don't think I used it for long, right? As far as I know, I only changed my face a few months ago. At that time, it was only reported to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. In other words, only the people inside the Supernatural Investigation Bureau knew that my face was Yang Jianan's. How did you know? 3 years? I used this face 3 years ago? Everyone listened to Xiao Chen's words and suddenly began to discuss. Deputy Director Song, who was on the side, seemed to feel that something was wrong. However, he didn't think much of Yang Jianan. He was optimistic about Pang Fengde and hoped that Song Huawu and Pang Fengde would be together. Therefore, he deliberately pretended not to hear it and didn't speak. You came to me a few days ago. Why don't I know you? The woman's reaction was fast and she explained it at once. Don't be picky with me. When I'm anxious, I slip up and you treat it as a loophole. You have been like this for the past few months. Chapter 6:16. When the woman spoke, everyone believed it. After all, it was normal for a person to say something wrong in a moment of desperation. They couldn't say that this woman was a fake, so everyone continued to watch the show. Pang Fengde nodded to Ma Jisheng in appreciation and said, Xiao Ma, this woman you found is not bad. She's really smart. Ah, that's right. This is a professional model I found. She usually takes on some advertisements and supporting roles in movies. How can she not be professional? Ma Jisheng laughed. And let's continue watching. Wang Chake was very interested. Alright, stop acting. Xiao Chen saw the woman pestering endlessly, and he was too lazy to reason with her. He directly reprimanded, if you continue to pester endlessly, do you believe that I will kill you on the spot? As he spoke, Xiao Chen was about to take something from his waist. Xiao Chen's reaction made everyone suddenly stunned. What does this mean? Does he want to silence me? He actually dared to use a gun in this kind of occasion? Isn't he going to be punished? It was just that at this moment, the woman seemed to be frightened. She suddenly turned around and ran, but the direction she ran in was Xia Zhili, who was walking over here. When Xia Zhili saw that Xiao Chen was about to take out a gun, he was also shocked. Don't be impulsive. At most, this scandal would make him unable to be the leader of Team B, but there was still the position of deputy leader. If he took out a gun, then the position of deputy leader of Team B would also be ruined. This was not what he wanted to see. However, what Xia Zhili didn't expect was that the woman hugged Xia Zhili and shouted, Dear, I don't want to do it. You asked me to frame Yang Jianan, but he wants to kill me. If this hits my stomach, what about our child? However, what Xia Zhili didn't expect was that the woman hugged him and shouted, Dear, I don't want to do it. You asked me to frame Yang Jianan, but he wants to kill me. If this hits my stomach, what about our child? Xia Zhili was stunned and so were the others. What was going on? Why did this woman say that the child was Xiao Chen's just a moment ago, and now it was Xia Zhili's? What's wrong with this woman? Pang Fengde frowned and looked at Ma Jisheng. However, Ma Jisheng didn't know that and thought that he had done something very praiseworthy. He said proudly, maybe he saw that Xiao Chen wasn't easy to frame so he changed his mind and framed Xia Zhili? But it's all the same, these two are our targets. Bullsh *T. Pang Fengde was furious when he heard Ma Jisheng's words. He roared, hurry up and contact that woman. Tell her not to talk nonsense. What? Ma Jisheng was a little dazed. Wasn't the effect the same as messing with Xia Zhili? At that time, Xia Zhili's reputation would be ruined, and it wouldn't be good to suggest him to take over the position of Xiao Chen. Just as Pang Fengde was about to explain, it was already too late. He saw Xia Li swing his palm and slap the woman's face, sending her flying. Xia Zhili's rage didn't arouse the disgust of the people present. Instead, everyone didn't speak and remained silent, letting Xia Zhili rage. Even the other deputy directors pretended not to see it at this time. Ma Jisheng was a little puzzled. What does this mean? Why is Xia Zhili hitting a woman crazily and no one cares? He stood up subconsciously and said righteously, Deputy Director Xia, isn't it wrong for you to do this? No matter what, you can't hit a woman, right? Pang Fengde was shocked. He wanted to pull Ma Jisheng back. At this time, no one stood up. Naturally, there was a reason not to stand up. Aren't you going to be hated by others if you stand up and pretend to be righteous? Sure enough, Pang Fengda's reaction was a step too slow. Xia Zhili rushed over in a frenzy and gave Ma Zhili a flying kick, sending him flying into the air and crashing into the wall with a quang dang before falling to the ground and lying on the ground. Obviously he was already injured as he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. This horrifying scene made Xiao Qin a little dumbfounded. He didn't know what was going on. He just controlled the woman's thoughts for a while. He just wanted to make a joke. He didn't expect there to be so many chain reactions. However, why was Xia Zhili so angry that he continuously hurt people? But why didn't anyone stop him? What's going on? Xiao Qin turned his head and looked at Song Huawu. This. Song Huawu found it a little difficult to say it out loud. However, when she thought that she was talking to Xiao Qin, she did not mind it. She leaned close to Xiao Qin's ear and whispered, "When Deputy Bureau Chief Xia was young, he was severely injured in the lower part of his body during a mission. He was incapacitated, so everyone avoided this matter. No one dared to mention it in front of him." When Xiao Qin heard it, he immediately understood. No wonder. This woman said that she was Xia Zhili's lover and she was pregnant. Wasn't this poking at Xia Zhili's sore spot? Who among the higher-ups present didn't know about this? Probably only ordinary staff like Ma Jisheng didn't know, right? Therefore when Xia Zhili exploded, no one dared to stop him. After all, he was injured during a mission when he was young. Even if they were enemies, they wouldn't use this as an excuse. However, Xiao Qin now understood why Xia Zhili was so passionate about power. It turned out that he had a physical defect. Weren't those eunuchs in ancient times also strangely passionate about power? Xiao Qin thought about it and once again controlled the mind of the woman on the ground who was at a loss. He made her run in the direction of Pang Fengda and yelled as she ran, "I quit. Give me the money. I don't want to act anymore. How can I beat people up? You didn't say anything in advance. No, I have to pay more. Don't slander me." Pang Fengda's face turned green at this moment. Is this woman crazy? How can she tell the truth here? That little Ma you ordered, he was the one who contacted me. I recorded it all. The woman continued to shout. Take her out. Take this crazy woman out. Pang Fengda was mad and yelled. Although Deputy Director Song was very disappointed with Pang Fengda, he couldn't ignore him. If he let Pang Fengda make a fool of himself, he would lose his face. Therefore he could only give a hint to the two men next to him. The two men quickly carried the woman and left the restaurant. On the other hand, Xia Zhili was still in a frenzy. After kicking Ma Jisheng, when he heard that the mastermind was Pang Fengda, he immediately regained his senses and gave Pang Fengda a roundhouse kick. At that moment, his strength as a level 10 martial master was fully displayed. Level 10 martial master? Xiao Qin was a little shocked. He originally thought that Xia Zhili was at most a level 3 or 4 martial master. However, after seeing Pang Fengda's strength, he was a little shaken. However, after seeing Pang Fengda's strength today, he realized that he had always underestimated Xia Zhili. This guy actually had such a high level of strength. Xiao Qin's previous idea was too simple. Killing Xia Zhili was basically impossible now, at least not in the short term. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be a match for Xia Zhili. Pang Fengda had been injured because of a bone fracture yesterday. After being kicked like this, he would probably be lying in the hospital. Deputy Director Song took a deep breath, but he didn't step forward to stop them. Moreover, Xia Zhili had become a eunuch because of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's mission. It was fine to fight openly and covertly, but it was too despicable to make an issue out of this. No matter what, everyone was working for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. If you used this to make an issue out of it, they would already be very lenient if they didn't beat you to death. Even if the director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau knew about this, he probably wouldn't say much. Xia Zhili had worked hard to complete the mission and became a eunuch. How dare you use this to mock him? After the woman was carried out, Deputy Director Song waved his hand. Two more men came and carried Pang Fengda and Ma Zhili out. However, he couldn't say a word for them. However, in his heart he already hated Xia Zhili and Yang Jianan. Looking at Song Huawu and Yang Jianan sitting together, Deputy Director Song was very angry, but he forgot that today's incident was Pang Fengda's own fault. The farce was over, and Xia Zhili's emotions also calmed down. He cupped his hands and said to everyone, I'm sorry. I lost control of my emotions. I will go back to rest first. Everyone continue. However, after such a mess, who was in the mood to stay here? A good fellowship party was ruined. Xiao Qin and Song Huawu naturally didn't have the mood to stay any longer. They went upstairs early. Huawu, you stay. Deputy Director Song stopped Song Huawu, who was about to leave. Ah, Instructor Song, you were looking for me? Song Huawu quickly stopped. She was a little guilty. She knew that Instructor Song's heart was actually biased towards Pang Fingda, but she was with Xiao Chen. She couldn't say that the current Yang Jianan wasn't the previous Yang Jianan. And come here. I want to talk to you about something. After Deputy Director Song finished speaking, he turned and walked to an empty seat not far away. Then I will go up first. Xiao Chen didn't want to put Song Huawu in a difficult position, so he said to her. And? Song Huawu nodded and then quickly followed Instructor Song. Sitting in front of a dining table, Deputy Director Song said, Huawu, between you and Yang Jianan? Although he didn't finish his words, he believed that Song Huawu could understand. Sure enough, Song Huawu's face turned red and she was a little nervous. He and I are developing. Huawu, Yang Jianan's character isn't good. Instructor Song said with a serious face. I know that you didn't like him before, so I didn't care about you being in the same group as him, but I didn't expect you to really agree to him. What? You know, I have always been optimistic about Pang Fingda. I want to train him to be my successor. Chapter 6:17. Instructor, I know, but Yang Jianan is really different from before. He has matured now and can focus on doing things. Didn't this mission explain everything? Song Huawu could only explain it this way. One success is nothing. The main thing is that his character is not good. I have long heard about him and Xia Zhili stuffing their own pockets. This person's heart is not righteous. If you follow him, you will suffer in the future. Instructor Song said. But isn't Pang Fingda's character the same? What did he do today? He found a woman to falsely accuse Yang Jianan. Does that mean he is righteous? Song Huawu retorted with some dissatisfaction. If he does this, he will ruin the entire sorority. What should we do? You dare to talk back to me? Instructor Song was a little annoyed. Wasn't he forced? If you weren't close to Yang Jianan, would he have made such a stupid move? Have you ever seen him like this before? Song Huawu lowered her head, feeling wronged. If you recognize me as your instructor, go and make it clear to Yang Jianan. Don't be with him. Instructor Song said, of course, if you don't respect me as your instructor, you can go and join Xia Zhili. Song Huawu was in a dilemma. Alright, think about it yourself. I'll leave first. Instructor Song stood up and strode away. Song Huawu looked at his back and sighed. On the one hand, she didn't want to be separated from Xiao Chen. On the other hand, she didn't want to go against Instructor Song's wishes. What should she do? One was the benefactor who had raised her, and the other was the person who had saved her life. She was grateful and had a good impression of him. How should she choose? How should she choose? Since Instructor Song had already said this, Song Huawu knew that her ambiguous attitude wouldn't work. However, she couldn't leave Xiao Chen. Not to mention anything else, her leg belonged to Xiao Chen. Moreover, for her, Xiao Chen had razed the Claryman family to the ground. Song Huawu didn't say this, but she remembered it in her heart. Song Huawu sighed and left the dining room in a daze. She returned to her room. Xiao Chen was also a little surprised that Song Huawu didn't contact him when she came back. However, he thought that Deputy Bureau Chief Song must have said something to her. Xiao Chen didn't want Song Huawu to be in a difficult position, so he didn't take the initiative to look for her. Therefore, Xiao Chen cultivated in his room. It was just a pity that he hadn't eaten his fill tonight, and it was ruined by an unexpected incident. At about 12 o'clock in the evening, Song Huawu called. Huawu. Xiao Chen answered the call. Xiao Chen. I'm in a bad mood. Do you want to go out for a drink or two with me? Song Huawu's voice was a little gloomy. Sure. Xiao Chen just wanted to go out to eat something, so he readily agreed. He also wanted to ask what happened to Song Huawu. See you at the elevator. After Song Huawu finished speaking, she hung up the phone. Xiao Chen simply cleaned up and went out of the room. He went to the elevator and waited for Song Huawu. However, Song Huawu was a girl after all. Xiao Chen waited for more than 10 minutes before she came over. Her eyes were red, and it was obvious that she had just cried. Song Huawu rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen and said, I'm sorry. I took a cold shower. A cold shower on a cold day? Xiao Chen was stunned. It's nothing. Song Huawu obviously didn't want to say much. The elevator came and the two of them walked in silently. Xiao Chen also found that Song Huawu's mood wasn't right. If it was a normal day, she would definitely be chattering with him. But today she was very quiet. It was obviously because of Deputy Bureau Chief Song's matter. When the elevator reached the first floor, the two of them tacitly walked out of the hotel. They didn't choose the restaurant in the hotel. After all, there were people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau nearby. It wasn't good to let them see them. It wasn't that they were afraid to tell Deputy Bureau Chief Song. They obviously couldn't hide from Deputy Bureau Chief Song's eyes and ears when they came out, but Song Hwawu didn't want others to see her emotions at the moment. The two of them didn't go far. There was a street near the hotel that was full of food stalls. The two of them found one, sat down, and ordered some lamb skewers and beer. When the beer was served, the lamb skewers weren't roasted yet. Song Hwawu picked up the beer and gulped down a bottle. Xiaochen was really shocked. "Hwawu, what are you doing?" Song Hwawu didn't care about Xiaochen. After one bottle, she picked up another bottle. Xiaochen had never seen Song Hwawu drink before, but he didn't expect her to have such a high alcohol tolerance. Song Hwawu's expression didn't change even after 2 bottles. In fact, what Xiaochen didn't know was that drinking was also a skill of special agents. Some special missions needed to deal with people from all walks of life. At the drinking table, many things could be completed without batting an eyelid. Song Hwawu was usually just unwilling to drink. At this time, the lamb skewers were served. It scared the waiter who was serving them. "What kind of volume is this?" "Hwawu, if you have something to say, just say it. You don't have to drink like this, right?" Xiaochen saw that Song Hwawu was about to pick up the 3rd bottle and quickly stopped her. "Don't worry about me." Song Hwawu suddenly rolled her eyes and said, "Who do you think you are? You're not anyone to me. Why do you care so much? Go eat your skewers." Xiaochen looked at Song Hwawu's emotional words and was a little puzzled. "What did Deputy Bureau Chief Song say to you?" "Nothing, Xiaochen. Today let's treat it as our farewell meal." Song Hwawu had already made a decision. In any case, she couldn't disobey the words of Instructor Song, who had raised her. "From tomorrow onwards, we won't do missions together anymore, and we won't live together anymore. You can live by yourself in the house in Songning City." When Xiaochen heard Song Hwawu's words, he suddenly felt a little disappointed. He didn't know why. Perhaps it was because he was used to Song Hwawu being by his side. When she suddenly wanted to separate from him, Xiaochen couldn't accept it. However, Xiaochen also understood. He even guessed the situation. Deputy Bureau Chief Song had a problem with him, and he was the one who raised Song Hwawu. It would be strange if Deputy Bureau Chief Song would let Song Hwawu interact with him. However, in order to comfort Song Hwawu, Xiaochen smiled and said, "If there's wine today, let's get drunk. If there's trouble tomorrow, let's worry about it tomorrow. Don't worry so much. Let's eat first." As he spoke, Xiaochen grabbed a handful of lamb skewers and stuffed them directly into his mouth. Then he opened a bottle of beer and accompanied Song Hwawu to drink. Now he also understood Song Hwawu's feelings. Song Hwawu must have been in a difficult situation. He didn't know how much determination she had to make this choice. It could be seen from her red and swollen eyes. She wasn't an ungrateful person, but sometimes she couldn't help it. Not far away, there was another table of guests eating. There was a person with a bandage on his head, a person with a cane, and the last one was fine. However, the 3 of them eating in such a condition was indescribably strange. They were Pang Fengde, Ma Jisheng, and Wang Chake, who had just returned from the hospital. "Isn't that Yang Jianan and Song Hwawu?" Ma Jisheng's eyes were sharp. He saw Xiaochen and Song Hwawu not far away at a glance. "It really is them. Why did they come here to eat at the food stall? They seem to be having a good time." Wang Chake was a little puzzled. He didn't know that Deputy Bureau Chief Song went to look for Song Hwawu, so he thought they were drinking to celebrate. "Damn, I'm so angry. I get angry when I see this kid." Pang Fengde was so angry that he was trembling. "Ma Jisheng, where did you find such an ignorant woman? Professional acting? I'm dead." "Don't mention it, brother Da. Look at me, I'm also covered in bandages." Ma Jisheng was also a little helpless. "Who wants this to happen?" Pang Fengde nodded. Ma Jisheng's appearance also made him feel better. Ma Jisheng was right. Who didn't want to do this well? Ma Jisheng was also unlucky, but it wasn't intentional. "Seeing that Yang Jianan, that kid is so cool, I really don't want to give up. Can I mess with him a little?" Pang Fengde's evil intentions began to come out again. "Let me think." Wang Chake narrowed his eyes and began to think of some dirty tricks. His hatred for Xiaochen was no less than Pang Fengde and Ma Jisheng. This guy was obviously here to take over the position of Team B's team leader. Didn't he endure for so many years for the position of team leader? Now that he was suddenly contradicted by Xiaochen, it would be strange if he could be happy. So, if there was a chance to mess with Xiao Qin, he would never be lenient. The trick just now failed, but the relationship between this Yang Jianan and Song Huawu doesn't seem to be affected at all. The one just now was too fake. Pang Fengde waved his hand. It would be strange if Song Huawu believed it. Fake. And I have a trick. Wang Chake's eyes turned and he thought of another idea. What trick? Pang Fengde suddenly became interested. This time we have to do it ruthlessly so that Yang Jianan can't make a comeback. The mistress and the like can only be suppressed temporarily, but if he breaks the law and commits a crime, he will never be able to make a comeback. He might even be kicked out of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Wang Chake smiled and a trace of coldness flashed across his mouth. He was a person who liked to play dirty. He didn't kill Xiao Qin previously because he had overestimated the young model's acting skills. However, this time he failed to teach Xiao Qin a lesson, and it also aroused the ruthlessness and dissatisfaction in his heart. He didn't want to use these little tricks anymore. He was ready to give Xiao Qin a fatal blow and permanently get rid of this future trouble. In for a penny, in for a pound. Breaking the law and committing a crime? What do you mean? How can we let him commit a crime? Pang Fengde didn't understand and looked at Wang Chake inexplicably. He is originally from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, a law enforcement officer. It's difficult for you to let him commit a crime. That's true. Wang Chake smiled. He had already found a way to ruin Xiao Chen's reputation. Mistress and mistress are all voluntary. It's boring. What do you think the result will be if Yang Jianan raped a civilian girl? Chapter 618. Oh. Pang Fengde, who was on the side, was not a fool. He understood it immediately and smiled. This is a good idea. You mean to let him be drunk, right? Yes, look at him drinking so much now. He will definitely be drunk in a while. Let's catch a woman first, knock her out and put her in his room. Then, when he goes back drunk and finds a woman on the bed, he might think that it is Song Huawu and then, hee. Wang Chake sneered. What do you think will happen? If it were me, I would be involuntarily. We are all men. We understand. Pang Fengde also laughed. Ma Jisheng also slapped his thigh. In order to prevent Yang Jianan from settling this privately, let's blow this matter up tomorrow morning. We will bring the people of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to arrest him directly. Right, isn't the deputy team leader of the monitoring group trained by Team Leader Wang? Let's look for him. Team Leader Lu is a bit upright. I'm afraid it's not good to let him participate. Wang Chake shook his head. We don't need to let him participate at all. We will just tell the truth. When the time comes, the facts will be in front of us. Yang Jianan will not be allowed to quibble. At that time, Team Leader Lu only needs to deal with it impartially. Ma Jisheng said. This is not a problem. Wang Chake nodded after listening and said, if that's the case, let's go and arrest them now. Otherwise, when Yang Jianan and Song Huawu finish drinking and go back, it won't be easy for us to make a move. Let's go. The three of them stopped eating and immediately found the boss to pay the bill. Then they got into a business car and sped away. Song Huawu drank one glass after another. Xiao Qin looked at her situation and felt that it was a bit creepy, but he still accompanied her to the end. After all, Song Huawu was upset, and Xiao Qin was also a little upset. But no matter what decision Song Huawu made, Xiao Qin supported her. If it was Xiao Qin, if the Elder Heaven ancestor who had helped him a lot, asked him to do something, he probably would not refuse. This was the same logic. Therefore, Xiao Qin did not ask why, nor did he deliberately ask her to stay. He raised the bottle and said straightforwardly, Huawu, we will still be good friends in the future. If there is anything, you can find me. Come, let me toast first. Yes, but I can't keep in touch with you anymore. Song Huawu was also a little tipsy. She also picked up a bottle of beer and downed it. Cheers. Xiao Chen's alcohol tolerance wasn't as good as Song Huawu's. Although he was a cultivator, he was still a little drunk. Seeing that Song Huawu's vision was a little blurry, he couldn't help but say, it's nothing. Sometimes, friends don't need to be together all the time. You're right. Come on, let's drink another bottle. Song Huawu raised another bottle of beer. The two of them went back and forth like this. God knows how many bottles they drank and how many mutton skewers they ate. Anyway, when it came time to settle the bill, it was the boss who said how much it was. Xiao Qin didn't care. He just casually threw 1,000 yuan on the table. It was enough. The two of them supported each other and walked back in a daze. Song Huawu said as she walked, Xiao Qin, although we can't play together anymore, my life is yours. You can play secretly too. Xiao Chen said in a daze. The waiter looked at the two of them inexplicably. What is the relationship between this man and woman? They can actually drink so much? However, this had nothing to do with him. He happily grabbed the 1,000 yuan on the table and gave it to the boss. Boss, they gave 1,000 yuan. *CK beer is 10 yuan a bottle and they drank 50 bottles. Mutton skewers are 3 yuan a skewer, and they ate 200 skewers. They still lost 100 yuan. The boss couldn't help but scold, "Are you stupid?" The waiter was stunned. He didn't calculate it. At this moment he calculated it carefully. They did lose 100 yuan, at the entrance of the hotel in a business car. "Little Ma, how's it going? Is there any problem?" Pang Fengde touched his broken right leg and his eyes flashed fiercely. "Don't worry, brother Da. I have already asked someone to do it. The person has been caught, drugged and placed on the bed in Yang Jianan's room." Ma Jisheng said with a smile. "And is it done by one of our own people?" Pang Fengde was a little worried. "Don't worry. It's our newcomer training group. They're all my people." Wang Chake said on the side, "But little Ma, you are the one who caught the person. Did you see it clearly? Don't let the woman come back and treat it as a one-night stand. If so, we can't frame Yang Jianan at all." What kind of person am I, Ma Jisheng? I have fiery eyes. Whether that chick is an innocent little virgin, I can see it at a glance. Ma Jisheng patted his chest and promised, "There will be no problem this time. It's definitely a girl from a decent family." "That's good." Wang Chake nodded and said, "But have you figured out her identity? Her family conditions aren't bad. She should be a rich lady. Her car is an Audi TT." Ma Jisheng said, "Although it's not a top sports car, her family is definitely not short of money. If Yang Jianan wants to settle it privately, it's impossible." "That's good. As long as this girl's family doesn't let Yang Jianan go, Yang Jianan is finished. Being expelled from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is a light punishment. Maybe he will be sent directly to prison." After Pang Fengde listened, he smiled with satisfaction. "That's right. I messed it up before. This time I must be careful." As Ma Jisheng said this, he took out his mobile phone, opened the photo album and handed it to Pang Fengde. "Look, it's this girl. This is her car." "Oh? Let me see. Is it her?" Pang Fengde took the phone and pointed to the photo on the phone. TSK, she looks quite beautiful. Yang Jianan got lucky." Wang Chake also nodded. "It's really the best. It's a pity. Why don't we find a place to enjoy ourselves?" Ma Jisheng saw that both of them were interested, so he said quickly, "Enjoy my ass. Let's get down to business." Pang Fengde returned the phone to Ma Jisheng and said, "Let's go." Xiao Qin and Song Huawu got into the elevator in a daze and then returned to his room. He only felt dizzy. He drank too much alcohol today. Opening the door, Xiao Qin didn't even turn on the light. He took off his clothes, went to bed in a daze and fell asleep. He really didn't have the extra strength to do anything else. In a vague trance, Xiao Qin seemed to feel that something was wrong. There seemed to be another person beside him. However, Xiao Qin drank too much and his mind wasn't very clear. In a daze, he subconsciously thought that he was still in Song Huawu's room in Songning City, and the person beside him was Song Huawu. Therefore he didn't think much and fell asleep. Dong dong dong. Xiao Qin was awakened by a violent knocking on the door. His head was still a little painful. He drank too much yesterday and he hadn't sobered up yet. Who is this? Knocking on the door so early in the morning. Is there a problem? Xiao Qin cursed in his heart and opened his eyes with some difficulty. However, the first thing that came into view was the face of a sleeping woman. Who is this? Xiao Qin was suddenly stunned. Why is there another person in my room? Did I drink too much last night and go to the wrong room? However, if I went to the wrong room, how did the room card open the door? Yes, he remembered that there seemed to be a person who fell asleep next to him last night. He thought it was Song Huawu, but he didn't expect it to be otherwise. However, just as Xiao Qin was wondering, the knocking on the door became more violent, as if someone wanted to break in. Is there a problem? Are you sure no one came out last night? Not far away, the door of a room was ajar. 3 men were looking at the situation from a distance through the crack of the door. The man who asked was Pang Fengde. Don't worry. No one came out. Ma Jisheng yawned. Last night, he was the one who guarded here all night to see if anyone came out of Xiao Chen's room. And that's good. Let's see how Yang Jianan dies this time. Pang Fengde smiled. Wang Chake, who was at the side, also looked like he was watching a good show. The people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau had already arrived, and the one leading them was Leader Lu. Leader Lu abhorred evil and would definitely not tolerate Xiao Chen's tyrannical behavior. The person inside opened the door. If you don't open the door, we will force our way in. Team Leader Lu knocked for a long time, but no one opened the door. He was a little annoyed. Knock your mom. Your mom is dead. Are you ringing the funeral bell? Xiao Chen opened the door. There was a do not disturb sign on the door of his room. Who was so blind as to knock on the door crazily? Team Leader Lu snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, he got a few people behind him to restrain Xiao Chen. Then, he strode into the room and saw the woman sleeping soundly on the bed. He frowned and said to a female subordinate, "Go and examine her." Yes. The female subordinate rushed in quickly and did a simple check on the girl on the bed. Then she said, reporting to Team Leader Lu, she was indeed drugged. She is still unconscious. Hearing the female underling's report, Team Leader Lu snorted coldly. He waved his hand and said, "Take Yang Jianan away from me. Little Wu, wait for the victim to wake up and take her to make a statement." Yes. Little Wu and the men who were holding Xiao Chen responded at the same time. Who are you? What do you mean? Xiao Chen was still a little confused. He had not woken up from this series of shocks. I was sleeping well and Team Leader Lu rushed in to take me away. Is there something wrong with him? Be honest. I am Lu Zhanlong, the deputy team leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's monitoring team. You are suspected of being drugged. Now go back with me for investigation. Team Leader Lu said resolutely. What? Drugged? Who am I drugged? Xiao Chen was a little stunned. Chapter 619. Oh, isn't the thing on your bed the evidence? Team Leader Lu shouted. You still dare to deny it? What nonsense are you talking about? Xiao Chen was a little annoyed. Get lost. How would I know when she came? Are you crazy? Can you use your brain when doing things? Am I crazy? Can I do this kind of thing in the fellowship party? Although Xiao Chen was annoyed, he also felt that something was wrong. He went back to his room in a daze yesterday and fell asleep. When did this woman come? Coincidentally, she came. The next morning, this team leader Lu came to arrest him. Who told him this? Who tipped him off? However, yesterday he went to drink with Song Huawu. It was an impromptu decision. Xiao Chen didn't believe that Song Huawu framed him. In his opinion, only Pang Fengde, Ma Jisheng, and Wang Chake could do this kind of thing. Did Pang Fengde ask you to come? Xiao Chen asked after he figured it out. Be honest. Don't talk nonsense. Team leader Lu simply ignored Xiao Chen. He waved his hand and said to his men, "Take him away. If he dares to resist, kill him directly." Yes. The few men responded, then they pushed Xiao Chen and said, "Hurry up and go. Don't look." Xiao Chen frowned. With the strength of these people in front of him, it was easy to kill them. But if he really killed them, then he couldn't stay in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau anymore. He had to run away again and his identity as Yang Jianan would be abolished. Therefore Xiao Chen had no choice but to go with them first and figure out what was going on. Xiao Chen was taken to a dark basement of the hotel. This room had no windows. It was originally built as a storage place for the hotel's computer room, transformer room and other facilities, but it was not used at the moment. It was empty, and Lu Zhanlong used it as a temporary interrogation room. After entering the basement, Xiao Chen was arranged to sit on a broken wooden chair, while the other people who escorted him blocked the door like tigers watching their prey. They were afraid that Xiao Chen would run away and some of them even took out their guns. After a while Lu Zhanlong came. Behind him stood a stunned girl with disheveled hair and the female subordinate. These people passed by the door of the basement room, but they didn't come in. Instead they went to another basement. At the moment when the girl passed by Xiao Chen's room, Xiao Chen only felt that the girl looked familiar, but he forgot where he had seen her. He didn't have such a feeling before, but now he couldn't see clearly because of her hair. But after passing by, Xiao Chen suddenly remembered something, but because he had just woken up, he couldn't remember anything. Obviously, Lu Zhanlong didn't only want to interrogate Xiao Chen first, but he wanted to ask the girl first. He wanted to find a breakthrough from the girl. The girl rubbed her head in a daze and was helped to a dark basement. She suddenly woke up and shouted, "Help! There are bad guys. Help me." Lu Zhanlong was a little speechless. Why was he regarded as a bad guy? The female subordinate next to him quickly pulled the girl and said, "Don't shout. We are not bad guys. We are the good guys who saved you. This is my ID. You can take a look." The girl was stunned. She looked at the ID handed over by the female subordinate, but she was a little puzzled. She said, "What ID is this? Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Is this a civilian exploration organization?" "Of course not. We are a relatively mysterious department. You can think of it as a special agent. In addition, I also have a military identity. This is my other ID." The female subordinate gave her other ID to the girl. The girl took a look and was a little surprised. "Are you making fake ID? Why are there two IDs? What else do you have?" The female subordinate suddenly had black lines on her head. She said, "You were kidnapped and then you were drugged. Don't you know? Why are you still asking this and that? We just rescued you." Yes, I just parked the car yesterday and got off. I saw someone coming from behind me in the rearview mirror and covered my mouth with something. I don't know anything. Then I found myself lying in bed this morning and was woken up by you," the girl recalled. "So, I seem to have been kidnapped?" Lu Zhanlong nodded and then said to the female subordinate, "Okay, write it down. But I don't seem to have any injuries on my body. I didn't get drugged. My lower body doesn't hurt at all?" The girl was a little puzzled. "Are you mistaken? N?" Lu Zhanlong was stunned by the girl's tough words. He suddenly had black lines on his head. "If it wasn't your first time, of course it wouldn't hurt." "Nonsense, I didn't before." The girl said angrily, "You must be the liars. Let me go. What I said just now was a lie. Goodbye." As she spoke, the girl was about to get up and rush out. She was quickly pulled back by the female subordinate. "Miss, calm down. Are you drugged? You can go to the hospital for a checkup later. You are a miss. Your whole family is a miss. I won't go for a checkup." The girl was even more furious. "Let me go. I'm from the Wang family. If you catch me, my father won't let you go." Wang family? Lu Zhanlong's face suddenly changed. Could this person be the young miss of the Wang family? This time Yang Jianan was in big trouble. Even the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would be implicated. "We'll take you to identify someone. See if he kidnapped you yesterday and then hurry up." The girl saw that she couldn't leave, so she could only nod helplessly. However, her mouth was indeed pouting in anger. At this time there was a noise outside. Then, it was the sound of two people arguing. Listening carefully, it was actually Xia Zhili and Deputy Bureau Chief Song. Both of them were Deputy Bureau Chiefs, but they were arguing here. "Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, why do you think that Yang Jianan was framed? You came here to command the release of people. This is overstepping your authority. You are not in charge of the supervisory group." Deputy Bureau Chief Song said angrily. He also received the news that Yang Jianan's drugged girl was arrested early in the morning. He was immediately very happy. In this way he didn't need to say anything to Song Huawu. It was impossible for Song Huawu to be with Yang Jianan. He immediately thought that Xia Zhili might obstruct the investigation, so he rushed over immediately. As expected, he saw that Xia Zhili was also there. In the interrogation room, he sternly ordered the supervisory group's subordinates to let go. "Song Billion, that has nothing to do with you. You are in charge of the newcomer training group." Xia Zhili said, "Yang Jianan is my subordinate. How can I not care? I believe him, and I also have reason to suspect that someone is framing him. Yesterday Yang Jianan was just framed, and a similar thing happened at night. I suspect that this was done by Pang Fengde. I also request that Pang Fengde be taken away for investigation. This is his revenge." "You." Song Billion was furious and glared at Xia Zhili. Xia Zhili had to protect Yang Jianan. In the past, Yang Jianan only had some relationship with him, so he didn't pay much attention to him. After all, it would be the same no matter who it was. However, it was different now. Yang Jianan was very capable. He heard that he single-handedly destroyed the Claryman family in Lego Town. How glorious was that? It really promoted the power of the great Xia agents in front of outsiders. Xia Zhili also took advantage of that and was promoted step by step. Because he had become a eunuch, he didn't have any other pursuits. He desperately plundered for the sake of cultivation or for the sake of promotion. He really wasn't interested in anything else. Now that Yang Jianan was so powerful, if he made some more contributions, it wouldn't be a problem for him to fight for the position of Deputy Bureau Chief. Therefore he had to desperately protect Yang Jianan. Originally he and Deputy Bureau Chief Song didn't have any big conflicts, but this time they directly fell out. "What about you? What I said makes sense, right?" Xia Zhili sneered and said, "All right, if you have the guts, find that girl and confront her. I don't believe that this matter was caused by Yang Jianan." As the two of them were arguing, Song Huawu and Xia Shibin also came. They stood not far away and were a little shocked, especially Song Huawu. She was very puzzled. How did Xiao Qin get involved in such a matter? She didn't think that Xiao Qin would go after a girl. It would be fine if there were no beauties at home. She, Song Huawu, had slept beside Xiao Qin for so long and nothing had happened. Would Xiao Qin have the time to go after a girl? Moreover, the most important thing was that they had come back from drinking yesterday and were all in a daze. How could they have the strength and energy to do this? Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, I hope that you won't interfere with the investigation of our supervisory group. If you want to confront her, that's fine. I'm going to bring that girl to identify her. Lu Zhanlong walked out at this time. He also heard the argument between Xia Zhili and Deputy Bureau Chief Song, so he spoke up. Xia Zhili snorted coldly. Song Billion frowned. Although he also felt that this matter was strange and he was afraid that it was related to Pang Fengde, he naturally couldn't not take advantage of this good opportunity to get rid of Yang Jianan. Go and take a look. Did this person kidnap you? Lu Zhanlong said, since you saw it from the rearview mirror of the car, you should be able to roughly recognize that person, right? Oh. The girl nodded reluctantly. Xia Zhili's face was gloomy. He looked at the girl and shouted, don't talk nonsense or you will be responsible. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, please don't talk nonsense. This is the eldest daughter of the Wang family. You should know what kind of existence the Wang family is. It is a branch of the Wang family. Are you threatening the Wang family to cause trouble for our Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Lu Zhanlong warned coldly. Chapter 620. In Tianfang Wang family? Xia Zhili's face suddenly changed. Although the Tianfang Wang family was also one of the real martial families, and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wasn't afraid of them, they weren't an ordinary real martial family. This was a branch of the Wulin family, so it was different. Although the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's headquarters were also in Tianfang province, they didn't interfere with the Wang family. Sometimes they even helped each other. However, why didn't the Wang family's Missy know about the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Seeing Xia Zhili being defeated, Song Billion was very refreshed. He sneered, some people, the more they jump around, the faster they die. Take a look. Do you know him? Lu Zhanlong brought the girl to the door of the basement room where Xiao Qin was. He pointed at Xiao Qin and asked, look carefully. I know him. The girl looked carefully and was immediately overjoyed. How is it? Lu Zhanlong's heart relaxed, then he sneered, okay, lock Yang Jianan up and then take this girl to the hospital for a checkup. Investigate her identity, make a detailed statement, communicate with her family, and then hand Yang Jianan over to the local judicial department. Brother Xiao, why are you here? Were you also caught by these bad guys? Lan Xinxin saw Xiao Chen and was very happy. She rushed to Xiao Chen's side. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau's men didn't expect the girl to dare to rush inside. After all, they were people who liked her. It was good that she wasn't afraid, so they didn't put up any defenses. Lan Xinxin? Xiao Chen finally remembered who this girl was. It was actually the 36B Lan Xinxin on the plane. No wonder she looked familiar. It was just that her hair was disheveled and it was just a flash, so he didn't see it clearly. Brother Xiao, are you okay there? Can you still use it? I've been worried about you these days. Let me help you check it? These days, Lan Xinxin had been thinking about Xiao Chen's matter. She wasn't a scheming person. Once she had something on her mind, she would always be depressed and unable to let it go. She was afraid that if she was not careful, she would harm Xiao Chen for the rest of his life. However, she couldn't contact Xiao Chen. She added Xiao Chen's Weixin, but Xiao Chen didn't let her pass the verification. Just as she was worrying about it, she finally met Xiao Chen. The troubles of the past few days were suddenly released. She didn't care much and reached out to pull Xiao Chen's crotch. This scene made everyone dumbfounded. What was the relationship between these two people? It didn't seem like a rape. Instead, they looked like a couple flirting. Otherwise, why would this girl make such a bold move? She even wanted to check Yang Jianan's crotch. Wasn't this something that only a very close couple would do? This situation made Lu Zhanlong dumbfounded. However, Xia Zhili immediately reacted and shouted, Lu Zhanlong, you're abusing your power. They're clearly boyfriend and girlfriend. Your boyfriend and girlfriend eating some drugs to liven things up is called MX? Are you bullying me because I'm crippled and don't understand? But I've read a lot of books. Lu Zhanlong's eyes widened, but he didn't dare to refute. He knew that if he dared to refute he would probably be kicked away by Xia Zhili. As long as it involved Xia Zhili's problem, Xia Zhili would explode. And even if Xia Zhili exploded, even the director wouldn't say anything. These years, Xia Zhili had been working hard to plunder cultivation resources for cultivation. In fact, the director might not really know about this. It was just that he had made great contributions when he was young. His body was disabled, he didn't have any other thoughts, and he didn't have any children. He only had a little pursuit on the path of martial arts, so he turned a blind eye to it. Otherwise, even if Xia Zhili wasn't fired, he wouldn't be promoted. Everyone was well aware of this. Xia Zhili's problem was his reverse scale. Whoever touched it would die. Only an acquaintance can do it. Song Bilian saw that things were going bad. He vaguely knew that this matter might have been caused by Pang Fengde, so he had to stand up and suppress Yang Jianan. You see, although they know each other, it might not be an acquaintance. If you don't believe me, you can ask them if they are in a relationship. Are you in a relationship? Lu Zhanlong's eyes lit up as if he had grasped something and immediately asked. No. What's going on with you? Why are you asking so many questions? Let us go. Lan Xinxin was a little impatient. Song Bilian laughed and said, you are not in a relationship. Yesterday you were drugged and captured by him to sleep in the same bed with you. Do you know that? Do you still think of him as a friend? You've been deceived. That's right. Lu Zhanlong nodded. So, Yang Jianan hasn't been cleared of suspicion. We must start the investigation now. All right, separate them and take them away separately for investigation. Song Bilian said with a wave of his hand. Song Huawu saw that the situation wasn't good. Although she didn't know what the relationship between Xiao Chen and the girl in front of her was, if this continued, it would be disadvantageous to Xiao Chen. Instructor Song and Pang Fengde obviously wanted to kill Xiao Chen. When the time came, they would really have no choice but to forge some evidence. Especially when she heard that this girl was from the Wang clan, she was even more worried. Even if nothing happened, rumors would spread in the end. For the sake of face, the Wang clan would have to settle the score with Xiao Chen. This was basically a plan that failed. Wait a minute. Although Song Huawu knew that if she stood up, Instructor Song might be unhappy, she still stood up. She couldn't watch Xiao Chen be framed. She could not be close to Xiao Chen, not carry out missions with Xiao Chen, or even ignore Xiao Chen. She could listen to Instructor Song, but she knew that Xiao Chen was not in the wrong and still wanted to frame him. That was definitely not acceptable. Oh, Team Leader Song, what's the matter? Lu Zhanlong looked at Song Huawu. He didn't know which side Song Huawu was on. Those who understood would know that Song Huawu was from the newcomer group, but recently she had been very close to Yang Jianan. In any case, Song Huawu was the newly appointed team leader of Team C. Lu Zhanlong had to give her some face. Last night, Yang Jianan and I were drinking and eating mutton skewers. He didn't have the time to commit the crime. There should be a video of the hotel lobby. We went out together, came back together, and were together the whole time. Song Huawu said, as for how this girl ran into Yang Jianan's room, I just want to see the surveillance video. This. Lu Zhanlong was shocked. He had a preconceived idea that Xiao Chen was guilty, but after listening to Song Huawu's solemn vow, he was a little uncertain. What if they caught the wrong person? Although he was impartial, he was also a person who cared about his reputation. After hesitating for a moment, he looked at Song Bilian, wanting to see what he had to say. Huawu, don't get involved in this kind of thing. I have just asked. There was something wrong with the surveillance yesterday. It's all broken. Song Bilian waved his hand and said, I know that you two used to be in a relationship, but now that you have broken up, you don't have to protect him. Don't be emotional. After listening to Song Bilian's words, Lu Zhanlong was relieved. Since it was emotional, it was a one-sided cover-up. However, it was a bit amazing that the surveillance was broken. Lu Zhanlong planned to retrieve the surveillance video as evidence later. Pang Fengde, who was far away, was shocked. He didn't expect the hotel's surveillance. Although it was done secretly yesterday, it definitely couldn't escape from the hotel's surveillance. He didn't often stay in this hotel, so he didn't know that there was a surveillance camera in the hotel corridor. Now, listening to Song Bilian, it must have been destroyed. He felt lucky in his heart, but he was even happier. It seemed that Song Bilian was on his side. Now, listening to what he said, Xiao Chen and Song Huawu had broken up. Then he had a great opportunity. However, looking at Song Huawu's appearance, she still had feelings for Xiao Chen. This time he must kill Xiao Chen. He must not be lenient. The most important thing was that Song Bilian also supported him. Then he was even more assured and bold. What nonsense are you talking about? I know him. Are you crazy? Even if he ked me, I was willing to do it. At this moment, Lan Xinshin opened her mouth. She was suffocated. These people chattered non-stop. She was about to die of annoyance. When the two of us came, we took the same plane. On the plane, I made an appointment with him to test him, whether that part of his is good or not. Aren't you guys being too nosy? Why are you controlling everything? Can't we have a date? Xiaoqun suddenly broke into a sweat. This Lan Xinshin was really heartless. She could say anything. However, thinking about her behavior on the plane, he knew that she was a heartless person. She dared to jump out with any words. This was even more so when she was anxious. Song Huawu was also a little shocked. This woman. She knew Xiaoqun on the plane? At this time, Xia Shibin also stood up and said, "Yes, I can testify that Group Leader Yang also helped Miss Lan catch 2 liars." Group Leader Yang saved the beauty, and Miss Lan secretly agreed. She had long wanted to devote herself to him. If you don't believe me, you can investigate the records on the plane. Lu Zhanlong didn't know what to do. If it was really as Lan Xinshin said, then nothing would happen to Xiaoqun. You can control the heavens and the earth, but you can control people's dating? Moreover, they are unmarried. You can't say that there is a problem with their style, right? Song Bilian had already said that Yang Jianan and Song Huawu had broken up. It was reasonable for Yang Jianan to find a new lover. However, he was a little nosy. No, even if this woman agreed subjectively, she was drugged. This is also considered a drug. Even if it's not easy to convict her, it also proves that Yang Jianan has bad intentions. He must accept internal punishment. Song Bilian saw that things were going bad. He couldn't beat Xiaoqun to death with a stick, so he immediately jumped out and said, Chapter 621. I ate barbecue with Song Huawu yesterday. The barbecue shop staff and the boss can prove it. At this time, Xiaoqun also calmed down. This matter was most likely caused by Pang Fengde, but isn't this Song Bilian too despicable? He actually helped Pang Fengde to do this kind of thing. In his opinion, someone who could cultivate Song Huawu, who was loyal to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and was upright and just, should be a broad-minded person. He didn't expect him to be a villain. Now it seemed that this guy was even more sinister than Xia Zhili. At least Xia Zhili wouldn't play dirty. He desperately snatched resources because he had a physical defect. He was disabled for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. At most, his mentality was a bit extreme. However, Song Bilian was simply shameless. He was distorting the truth. Oh, then let's find them to confirm it. Although Lu Zhanlong felt that if the case was reversed, he might lose face, but his personal face still succumbed to the thoughts of justice. Song Bilian's face changed, but he couldn't stop it. He could only hope that the barbecue shop owner would forget about it. After all, there were many customers every day. It was normal to forget. Yes, Team Leader Yang, what barbecue shop is it? The underling also noticed the change in the situation at this time, and he was respectful to Xiaoqun. It's called 123 Barbecue Food Stall, said Xiaoqun. Okay. The subordinate accepted the order and left quickly. Brother Xiao, who are these people? Why are they falsely accusing you? Why are there so many liars and bad people in this world? Lan Xinshin was a little tired of it. Can I go now? You can go in a while. Xiaoqun nodded to her, indicating that she shouldn't be in a hurry. I didn't go back last night. My parents should be worried about me. Lan Xinshin was shocked and exclaimed. It's okay. It will be quick. Xiaoqun said with a smile. Even if the barbecue shop owner couldn't confirm it, this matter wouldn't have much to do with Xiaoqun. Not long after, the barbecue shop owner and the staff were found. Lu Zhanlong glanced at them and asked, "Do you know this person?" As he spoke, he pointed to Xiaoqun and reminded, "Look carefully. This is a serious matter." The boss yawned. He had slept very late last night. They were all food stalls that operated at night, so they did not rest for long before they were woken up. Naturally, he was still a little dazed. His head was a little swollen as he replied blankly, "I don't know him." Haha. Song Bilian laughed proudly. How is it? Yang Jianan, do you have anything else to say? Xiaoqun was slightly stunned. He didn't expect the boss to say that. However, looking at the boss's squinting eyes, Xiaoqun suspected that the boss didn't look at it at all and said that subconsciously. This made him a little annoyed. He couldn't help but say angrily, "I gave you 1,000 yuan yesterday. Did you forget?" Xiao Chen's words didn't wake the boss up. Instead, the shop assistant on the side was startled. He opened his eyes wide and looked up and down at Xiao Chen. He shouted, "Aya, it's him. Boss, it's him. He gave us 100 yuan less yesterday. Kid, hurry up and pay up. Because of you, I was scolded by the boss yesterday." What? When the boss heard that he had money, he suddenly became sober. He looked at Xiao Chen and then looked at Song Huawu. He said, "Yes, it's this kid. He took 100 bottles of beer and 200 mutton skewers from me, and he only gave me 1,000 yuan. It's obviously 1,100 yuan. Hurry up and pay up." Xiao Chen was stunned. "Your beer is so expensive?" "Nonsense, this is a high-end one." The boss rolled his eyes and said, "Yesterday the lady took this herself. There was a 2 yuan bottle next to her, but she didn't take it. Later I saw you drinking it, so I served this. I thought you knew." "Well, I'm sorry." As Xiao Chen said this, he took out 200 yuan from his pocket and handed it to the boss. He said, "The extra 100 yuan is interest." That's not bad." The boss accepted it with a smile. Looking at these people in front of him echoing each other, Lu Zhanlong also understood what was going on. Xiao Chen and Song Huawu did eat there for a night, and because he gave 100 yuan less, this guy remembered it very clearly. Now he could be sure that there was no problem with Xiao Chen. However, why is there a problem with this video? Although Yang Jianan can be temporarily eliminated as a suspect, it can't be guaranteed that he ordered his men to do it. So, I think it's still necessary to study the video. Lu Zhanlong said, "This video can't all be broken, right? I saw some of them. They are wireless and use memory cards as a medium. These shouldn't be broken, right?" "This?" Song Billion was shocked and immediately said, "There's no need. Since the parties don't want to pursue it, we don't need to trouble ourselves. Everyone can disperse. Team leader Lu, this time it's hard on you. But you see, these two parties said, that kind of relationship. Why do we care so much? They might have taken the drug to liven things up. Young people nowadays are very crazy. It's common to do things like SM. Let's not bother about it. Then forget it." Xia Zhili didn't want to cause more trouble. He waved his hand and said, "Everyone can disperse." Since the two deputy bureau chiefs had spoken in unison, Lu Zhanlong couldn't insist. Moreover, he now thought that Xiao Chen was innocent. He didn't want to care about this anymore. Thinking of this, he nodded and said, "I'm sorry, team leader Yang. I wronged you before." "It's nothing. You were also used as a tool. I don't blame you," Xiao Chen said with a wave of his hand. Lu Zhanlong nodded and left with his people. Song Billion glanced at Song Huawu and shouted, "What are you looking at? Hurry up and go." "Oh." Song Huawu nodded and followed Song Billion. As for Xiao Chen, he looked at Lan Xinxin strangely. "Why are you here? Why are you so careless? Can you blame me for that? I parked the car and I was caught. This kind of random event with a small probability. Whoever encounters it will be unlucky. There are so many people who are kidnapped. Who would want to be kidnapped?" Lan Xinxin was also a little depressed. "Right, it's fine now. Tell me the truth. Last night, did you find that it didn't work? Was it broken by me?" "Ah." Xiao Chen was stunned. "Then why didn't you do anything to me? It must be broken, right?" Although Lan Xinxin was a bit careless, she wasn't stupid. If it were someone else, she wouldn't be so concerned, but the crisp "kacha" sound on the plane made her a little worried. It was definitely not good. Xiao Chen didn't seek medical treatment in time. How could there not be a problem? Therefore, she had been thinking about this matter. "Brother Xiao, you can't hide your illness for fear of treatment. This isn't shameful. How about I accompany you to the hospital and say that we were too crazy, so it broke? Let's see if it can be cured," Lan Xinxin said with a serious face. Her words, with this expression, made Xiao Chen feel that it was so funny. However, Xiao Chen still said, "Sister, let me go. I'm really fine. Okay, hurry home. Your parents are still worried about you." "Oh, then if you have something you must contact me." Lan Xinxin remembered that she had to go home quickly. After she finished speaking, she hurried out. Xiao Chen shook his head helplessly and turned to go upstairs. "Brother Yang, this matter must be caused by Pang Fengda. We can't just let it go," Xia Shibin said with hatred. Xiao Chen nodded. If Pang Fengda was still jumping up and down, Xiao Chen didn't mind finding a chance to kill him. He originally wanted this guy to die on the horse. Xiao Chen didn't believe that this person was so loyal to Song Huawu that he wouldn't look for other women. However, because the Sun family died on the horse, many people knew that it was Xiao Chen who did it. Therefore, in order to avoid exposure, Xiao Chen didn't do it, But it didn't mean that he couldn't think of other deceptive means. Pang Fengda's face was pale as he stood in a room. Sitting in front of him was Song Bilian. At this moment, Song Bilian had already scolded Pang Fengda. "You idiot, can't you use your brain? What did I teach you in the beginning? You have to plan before you act. Impulsiveness is the devil." "Yes." Pang Fengda lowered his head. He was indeed impulsive and blinded by hatred. "However, Instructor Song, you said before that we have to be courageous in doing things. It's right to be courageous, but it's stupid to die for no reason." Song Bilian said, "Your plan seems to be flawless, but in fact it's full of loopholes. First, you didn't think of the monitoring problem. Second, you didn't investigate this woman's background carefully. You didn't know that she knew Yang Jianan. Third, you shouldn't have chosen to act when Yang Jianan was drunk. You really didn't do anything last night?" "Yes, I know I was wrong." Pang Fengda lowered his head and said carefully. "And it's good that you know you're wrong. What are you going to do next?" Song Bilian asked. "I'll keep a low profile first and hide. I'll wait for an opportunity to counterattack. I can't let Yang Jianan find evidence that I did it before. I won't leave anything behind." Pang Fengda said. "Idiot." Song Bilian said angrily, "You don't know how to take advantage of such a good opportunity. How did I teach you? You're so excellent and smart in other things. How can you be so stupid when it comes to your own matters?" Pang Fengda was stunned. "What you should do now is take advantage of the situation," Song Bilian said. "Now we know that the woman is from the Wang family. Do you still need me to tell you what to do next?" "Ah." Pang Fengda suddenly slapped his thigh. He suddenly saw the light. "As long as we spread the news that Yang Jianan slept with that woman last night, the Wang family will naturally come looking for trouble with Yang Jianan." Chapter 622. That's right. Song Bilian nodded. "But if the woman explains it clearly and goes back to check and finds that she wasn't violated, then?" Pang Fengda was still a little worried. "Tianfang Wang family, don't forget the character of the Wang family. You can tell just by looking at the little girl's character. Their family may be genetically inherited or it may be a coincidence. The current family head is also a person who is a little reckless." Song Bilian smiled and said, "Even if they don't find trouble with Yang Jianan for the sake of the Tianfang Wang family's reputation, they must have an explanation. Seeing that the little girl likes Yang Jianan, they must let Yang Jianan marry her." "Ah, wonderful." Pang Fengda was suddenly overjoyed. "Instructor Song is amazing. Otherwise, why would you be my instructor?" In this way, Yang Jianan married a member of the Tianfang Wang family. According to the rules of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau, important personnel like us can't be too close to a certain family. Then Yang Jianan must resign. Even if Xia Zhili interfered, Yang Jianan could keep his position, but he couldn't go any further. The position of Team B would fall to his friend Wang Chaik, and Song Huawu couldn't deal with the married Yang Jianan anymore. Even if Song Huawu was willing, the Tianfang Wang family wouldn't be willing. "And do you know what to do next?" Song Bilian nodded and said. "I understand, Instructor Song. Don't worry. I will definitely do it properly this time." Pang Fengda nodded and walked out of the room quickly. If the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wanted to convey any news at the family level, it was very fast. In less than 2 hours, every family in Tianfang province spread the news that the granddaughter of the Tianfang Wang family's family head, Wang Tietio, was slept with. Moreover, it was the deputy team leader of Team B of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. This news was very explosive. How would the Wang family and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau react? After Lan Xinxin returned home, she took a shower and rested. Although the family was very curious about her disappearance for a night, if she didn't say anything they wouldn't ask. Lan Xinxin's position in the Wang family was very strange. That was, Lan Xinxin was born from the lover of Wang Benbin, the son of Wang Tietio. Wang Benbin's lover was always ill, so Wang Benbin naturally didn't pamper her much. All these years he basically just greeted her and didn't show any other care, let alone staying overnight. According to the rules of the Wang family, this woman was definitely not allowed to enter the family. However, there was an exception. The patriarch, Wang Tietio, was very fond of Lan Xinxin, his granddaughter. He felt that Lan Xinxin had inherited his traits and was a straightforward person. Therefore, Lan Xinxin and her mother were brought into the Wang family. However, Lan Xinxin was very stubborn. She didn't want to follow the Wang family's surname and insisted on following her mother's surname. However, Wang Tietio acquiesced, and the other members of the Wang family couldn't say anything. Wang Tietio naturally heard the news that others had heard. When he heard this rumor, he was about to explode. Someone actually dared to sleep with Wang Tietio's granddaughter? Do you want to die? When he heard that it was the deputy team leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team B, Wang Tietio was even more furious. He immediately called his son Wang Benfen. Father, you were looking for me? Wang Benfen wasn't a tiger man. Instead, he was a meticulous person. Therefore, he wasn't liked by Wang Tietio. No matter how Wang Tietio looked at him, he didn't like him at all. If it wasn't for the fact that he had a son who was doing well in Lan City, and Wang Tietio had the intention to make his son the young patriarch, he wouldn't have let Wang Benfen appear in front of him. However, the world was unpredictable. The son he valued, his grandson, had been taken away to cultivate. He also planned to nurture a grandson, so Wang Benfen became the current transitional figure. You little bastard, do you know that your daughter has been slept with? Wang Tietio roared. Wang Benfen was stunned. Xin. Nonsense. Hurry up and find her. I want to ask what's going on. This matter can't be let go like this. My Wang family has a reputation in Tianfang province. Isn't this a joke? Before Wang Tietio could ask what was going on, he started to flip out. When I catch that little bastard, I'll kill him with a hammer. Wang Benfen nodded quickly and said, Yes, then I'll go find Xin and ask. Hurry up, run forward, hurry up. Wang Tietio roared, You're really a waste of the name I gave you. You're so slow and not quick at all. I think you should be renamed to Wang Guipeng. Yes. Wang Benfen didn't dare to say much and quickly ran forward. Lan Xin was asked to come. She was somewhat inexplicable. She just came back and planned to rest for a while, but she was called up by her father. In fact, Wang Benfen didn't like Lan Xin very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given her so little pocket money, but Wang Tietio liked her very much. However, Lan Xin was also ambitious. No matter if Wang Tietio wanted money, he would give it. If not, she wouldn't want it. Xin, where did you go last night? Wang Tietio looked at Lan Xin with some worry. He looked her up and down as if he wanted to see some problems. I didn't go anywhere. It was too late, so I stayed at a friend's place. Lan Xin said. Oh, is that your boyfriend or girlfriend? Wang Tietio asked with squinted eyes. It's girlfriend. Lan Xin's heart was beating like a drum. Grandpa asked me what these things are for, but she didn't say anything about Xiaoqian. Otherwise, with Grandpa's character, he would definitely look for her. Girlfriend? Nonsense. Wang Tietio was suddenly furious. Xin, how can you lie to Grandpa? Grandpa has already found out. It's a man, and he's the deputy leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team B. Am I right? Lan Xin was dumbfounded. She didn't expect Grandpa's information channels to be so well informed. In the blink of an eye, he knew everything. Of course, she didn't know that someone deliberately spread this rumor. Otherwise, no matter how well informed Wang Tietio was, he wouldn't know about this. Now, you actually dare to lie to Grandpa for a man? Wang Tietio widened his eyes and looked at Lan Xin, making Lan Xin a little worried. However, he changed the topic and said, Since you're already sleeping, what are you afraid of? The children of our Wang family have to be responsible for what we do. Now, immediately find that person called Yang Jianan and discuss your marriage. What? Lan Xin was stunned. She didn't expect Grandpa to let her marry Xiao Chang. She thought that they were just good friends now? Grandpa, you don't have to worry about my matters. What are you talking about? How can I not worry about it? Bullshit, how can I not worry about it? Now the outside world is saying that my Wang Tietio's granddaughter was slept with by someone. If I don't quickly settle your matters, wouldn't I be ridiculed? Wang Tietio shouted, All right, run. You immediately run forward and find that Yang Jianan. Then discuss your marriage with Xin. Dad, isn't this a bit hasty? Our Wang family is also a reputable family. At least, we need to find someone of equal status. Wang Benpei's original intention was to betroth Lan Xin to his friend's son, but he didn't expect this to happen. T. Is your head full of T? Xin is a girl. She was slept with by someone. Why do you care so much? Wang Tietio glared and said, Her reputation is gone. Why do you still need someone of equal status? Besides, isn't the leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team B fine too? This? All right. Wang Benpei didn't dare to refute. He felt that this matter was too strange. His father was 2F** King Reckless. He didn't care about the truth at all. Besides, which girl in a big family didn't have a lot of fun before marriage? At that time they could still find a big family for the sake of family benefits. This was especially so for a powerful family like the Wang family, which also had a backer in the martial arts world, so they were even more sought after. However, he did not dare to disobey. He was really a little depressed. In the past, when second uncle was the master of the family, he was even more powerful than now. Second uncle was a man with brains, so he naturally liked people with brains. He was valued by second uncle and entrusted with important tasks. He was doing very well in Lan City. However, when his father took over as the family head, he became an errand boy instead. He had to deal with trivial matters all day. The only consolation was that his son was valued by his father and was prepared to be the young master. He came all the way to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's hotel. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Song Billion sitting in the hotel lobby drinking coffee. He knew Song Billion, so he immediately rushed over and asked, "Deputy Bureau Chief Song, are you resting? Isn't this Brother Wang? Why did you come to our hotel? Do you want to stay or?" Song Billion deliberately sat here and waited for the Wang family to come to him, but he couldn't make it clear first. "Deputy Bureau Chief Song, I won't be polite with you. My father gave the order. I have to rush back immediately to report. I heard that the deputy leader of your Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team B is called Yang Jianan. My old man is looking for him," said Wang Benpai. "Why is old man Wang looking for him? Can you tell me what's the matter?" Song Billion was very happy. His plan seemed to be very successful. In the blink of an eye, the Wang family came to him. "It's hard to say. Deputy Bureau Chief Song, can you tell me where Yang Jianan is?" Wang Benpai found it difficult to speak. How can I say this? He didn't believe that Song Billion didn't hear about it, so he was too lazy to explain. "This is upstairs. Let me take you to find him." Song Billion was afraid that Xiao Chen would run away. He could also use his identity as the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's deputy bureau chief to deter Xiao Chen so that Xiao Chen wouldn't dare to act rashly. It would be best for him to go back with Wang Benpai. Then the situation would be set. The two of them went upstairs and came to the door of Xiao Chen's room. Song Billion knocked on the door. Chapter 623. Xiao Chen was taking a nap when someone knocked on the door. He was annoyed. "Who is this? Is there no end to it? What?" He got out of bed and opened the door, only to see Song Billion and a somewhat familiar man. "Yang Jianan, this is Wang Bengbao from the Wang family. He is here to look for you," Song Billion said. "Now follow him back." Xiao Chen was stunned. "Wang family? This person is from the Wang family? Yang Jianan? I am Lan Xinxin's father. You should know why I am looking for you, right? Alright, come with me. My father is looking for you." Wang Bengbao didn't waste any time. He believed that once he mentioned Lan Xinxin's name, Xiao Chen would follow him. Xiao Chen was surprised to hear the middle-aged man's words. Lan Xinxin is from the Wang family? Or this man's daughter? Why is her surname Lan? Also, Xiao Chen recognized who this middle-aged man was. When he was in junior high, Xiao Chen often went to his house to play. He often saw this man. He was Wang Bengbao's father, Wang Bengbao. At that time, Xiao Chen was puzzled. Wang Bengbao looked normal. Why was his son drunk? Now he finally understood. Perhaps Wang Bengbao had no problem, but the Wang family's genes were like this. Otherwise, why would Lan Xinxin be like this? Thinking about Wang Bengbao's behavior, Lan Xinxin's behavior was not surprising. They were really siblings. In the past, many people said that he and Xiao Xiao weren't siblings. He was speechless. However, if someone dared to say that Wang Bengbao and Lan Xinxin weren't siblings, then they must be blind. "May I know why Uncle Wang is looking for me?" Xiao Chen thought about the man's identity and was a lot more polite. After all, whether it was from Wang Bengbao or Lan Xinxin's point of view, he had to be respectful. "Yes, you will know when you come with me." Seeing how respectful Xiao Chen was, Wang Baobai's mood improved a lot. If it was a rebellious person, he would be very unhappy. After all, in his opinion, the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were very powerful. He had dealt with them a few times and they were always on equal footing. It was rare to see someone like Xiao Chen who considered himself a junior. Song Billion was also shocked. What was wrong with Yang Jianan? He didn't seem like such a humble person. Could it be that he had really turned around and started dating Lan Xinxin? He was a little disappointed. He wanted Xiao Qian and Wang Benben to fight. Although Wang Benben was weaker than him, as long as he fought with Xiao Qian, no matter who won or lost, Xiao Qian and the Wang family would become enemies, and then there would be a lot of things to deal with. But now was also fine. If Xiao Qian was willing to marry into the Wang clan, then let him be. As long as he didn't obstruct Song Huawu and Pang Fengda's good things, it was fine. Okay then, Uncle Wang, please lead the way. Xiao Qian nodded. He knew that Wang Benben came to find him because he and Lan Xinxin slept together, but he couldn't not go. He followed Wang Benben all the way down the stairs and got into his Audi A8. This was not a car that martial artists like to drive. Martial artists generally liked domineering off-road vehicles or sports cars that pursued speed. This kind of stable luxury car was probably only Wang Benben liked it. The Wang family was a big family in Tianfang province. On the edge of the city, there was a super large manor that belonged to the Wang family. It was similar to the Xin family that Xiao Qian had visited before, but the Wang family was bigger. Along the way, Wang Benben drove and didn't talk to Xiao Qian. Naturally, Xiao Qian didn't take the initiative to talk. Instead, he sat on the side and was neither servile nor overbearing. Wang Benben felt that this young man was good. Although it was a pity that Lan Xinxin couldn't marry the son of his friend, Yang Jianan was also a talented person. He also knew when to advance and when to retreat. If the Wang family trained him, even if he couldn't be promoted to the next level in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, his power would increase. Thinking of this, Wang Benben was a little relieved. The car drove into the manor and stopped at the door of a villa. He said, "We're here. Get off the car. I will take you to see my father. Don't talk nonsense later. My father has a bad temper." "Yes, thank you, Uncle Wang." Xiao Qian nodded. Wang Benben led the way in front, and Xiao Qian followed behind. The two of them entered the villa one after another. Seeing someone coming in, Wang Qiechio ran directly over. When he saw the person behind his son, he suddenly pointed and said, "Boy, you are Yang Jianan. Are you the one who slept with my granddaughter?" Pooh. Xiao Qian almost choked to death by his own saliva. "Old man Wang, where did you get this from? When did your granddaughter? You still don't admit it?" Xinxin has admitted it. Wang Qiechio's eyes stared at Xiao Qian. "You say it. When are you two getting married? Pick a day. My Wang family is also a prestigious family. We must pay attention to extravagance. Old man Wang, this matter? Do you think there is a misunderstanding? Why don't you call Xinxin out and ask her?" Xiao Qian was a little depressed. "Did they ask me to force a marriage?" "There's no need to ask. That silly girl will definitely speak for you. She doesn't even know that she suffered a loss. In this family I have the final say. I already represent her." Old man Wang waved his hand and said, "Yang Jianan, you give me a definite answer now. When are you getting married? Don't think about reneging on the debt. There are not so many good things in this world. It's impossible for you to do that." "Old man Wang, listen to me first." Xiao Qian was speechless because of old man Wang's loud voice. He finally found a chance to interrupt. "Shouldn't we take our time to think about this? Lan Xinxin and I are not in the kind of relationship that you think. We are just friends." "Friends? Boyfriend and girlfriend?" Wang Qiechio snorted coldly. "Or are you flirting with her?" "But we really didn't flirt." Xiao Qian was also a little anxious. "If I did it, then I did it. If I didn't do it, then I didn't do it." Yet, he insisted that I did it and wanted to marry his granddaughter. It was really unreasonable. If it weren't for Wang Fantian and Lan Xinxin, he would have already turned around and left. "Yang Jianan, it's useless for you to say this. Let me tell you, the news has spread outside. You must settle this matter with the Wang family. Either you marry my granddaughter and everyone is happy, or you commit suicide." Wang Qiechio said unreasonably. "This." Xiao Qian slapped his forehead. He suddenly felt a headache. To be honest, Xiao Qian wasn't that kind of rigid person. Since he promised Tian Soran to pretend to be her boyfriend, marrying Lan Xinxin wasn't a big deal. After all, the two of them slept in the same room for a night. Regardless of whether she was framed or not, for the sake of his reputation, Xiao Qian could reluctantly agree. But the key problem was that his current identity was Yang Jianan. What would happen if he married Lan Xinxin? If Xiao Qian's identity was exposed, wouldn't it implicate Lan Xinxin? Moreover, Xiao Qian couldn't take the initiative to tell the Wang family about his identity. If he told them with the Wang family's character, they might leak it out and let others know. Therefore, Xiao Qian was in a bit of a dilemma. He didn't think that the identity of the Wang family's son-in-law could protect him. Even the identity of the demonic star sex disciple was useless, let alone the identity of the Wang family's son-in-law. Of course, Xiaoqin didn't know the Wang family's power in the martial arts world. But even if he knew, he couldn't be so careless. Yang Jianan, let me tell you, I'll give you a few days to think about it. You have to settle this for me. It's not that my Xinxin can't get married. She and you are mutually in love. If you take the attitude of playing around, then I can tell you responsibly that the Wang family isn't a pushover. Even Xinxin's brother is also a master. He can kill you with one punch. Wang Qiuqiu threatened, then said, Okay, run, send him out. Yes, father. Wang Benbin nodded. He didn't say a word. Anyway, Wang Qiuqiu was the only one in charge of the family, and he was just an errand boy. After walking out of the villa, Xiaoqin said, Uncle Wang, I really have nothing to do with Xinxin. Can you talk to old Master Wang? I don't think it's a problem, but if he says it's a problem, then it's a problem. Wang Benbin said angrily, What? You don't like my daughter? I tell you, I don't want to get married yet, but my father has already spoken. I can't do anything about it. If you don't want to die, listen to him. Xiaoqin was a little speechless. It seemed that Wang Benbin had no right to speak at all. After being sent out of the door, Wang Benbin didn't drive again, which made Xiaoqin very depressed. He could only run back. There wasn't even a taxi here, so he turned into Xiaoqin. After running a few steps, Xiaoqin took out his mobile phone and dialed Wang Benbin's number. Hey, boss, what's the matter? Wang Benbin picked up the phone. Where did you go a few days ago? Why didn't you come back after you left? Are you still in Songning? No, I'm in Tianfang province. Let me ask you, do you have a sister named Lan Xinxin? Asked Xiaoqin. How did you know? Wang Benbin was stunned and suddenly said excitedly, Did you see her? Isn't she very beautiful? I told you that I would introduce my sister to you, and you wouldn't pursue that Xinjingxian. You didn't want to do it. Now you know how beautiful my sister is, right? Xiaoqin thought about it. Wang Benbin really said something like this before. I saw her, but I'm also in trouble. What? What trouble? Wang Benbin didn't understand. It's like this. Xiaoqin didn't hide anything from Wang Benbin. He started talking about 36B on the plane until he was forced to marry by the Wang family. If that's the case, then boss, I can't speak for you this time. On the plane, you discussed such a private topic with my sister, and then you slept on the same bed. Then marry her. Wang Benbin changed his usual support for Xiaoqin and suddenly changed his tone. Chapter 624. I'm looking for you to discuss a strategy. Aren't you just causing trouble? Xiaoqin said angrily, You know my real identity. And me, Menjing Jingxian and the others? Aya, what can we do? When the time comes, the Wang family will help you deal with the Shen family and the Qing family. Just give them some benefits. At most, let their daughter be a co-wife. You can marry them all. Anyway, we martial artists don't care about these things, Wang Fantian said. Forget it. It's fine. I'm not talking to you anymore. Xiaoqin felt that his call was wasted. Wang Fantian had tried to sell his sister to him before. Now he came again. He probably knew that with his sister's personality, ordinary people wouldn't be able to handle her. Oh right, these few days Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan don't seem to be in good spirits. I saw them a few times but they were listless. They even asked me where you went, but I don't know. Wang Fantian said, Oh right, we talked to you on Weixin but you didn't reply. We didn't dare to call you. And then don't say anything more. Xiaoqin sighed. Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan were probably just a fleeting memory in their lives. They would never cross paths again. As time went by, they would get used to it and everything would be fine. Okay. Wang Fantian said, My sister is really good. Why don't you try marriage first? Then you will know. Xiaoqin hung up the phone. Now they were forcing him to marry. Trial marriage? Of course he had to try. In the Wang family, Wang Qiuqiu asked Wang Benbin, who had returned, to look for Lan Xinxin again. Lan Xinxin was a little scared. She looked around but didn't see Xiaoqin. Don't look anymore. I asked him to go back. Wang Qiuqiu waved his hand. It seems that you still like him. I'm relieved. Xinxin, you don't have any objections to marrying him, right? Lan Xinxin's face suddenly turned a little red. In fact, she only had a good impression of Xiaoqin. She didn't reject him, but to marry him all of a sudden, she really wasn't mentally prepared. But thinking about it, Xiaoqin was probably crippled by him. In the future, which girl would follow him? She should be responsible for what she did, so marrying Xiao Chen was a good way to make it up to him. In this way it would be perfectly justifiable for him to examine him. He could also persuade him to go to the hospital with him. There must be a way to cure him. If there was really no other way, he would beg his grandfather to let him go to the martial arts world to think of a solution. The martial arts world was so powerful, there must be a solution. He had heard that there were some powerful dual cultivation methods that could bring spring to the old trees. However, she couldn't say these words now. If she said that Xiao Chen was crippled, then her grandfather would definitely not let her marry him. Therefore, Lan Xinxin gently nodded, indicating that she agreed. Haha, then it's decided. Wang Tietio slapped his thigh. Okay, I'll let that kid go back and think about it. If he agrees, it's fine. If he doesn't agree, I'll tie him up. Let's kidnap the bride. Anyway, we're in the right. The martial arts world won't say anything. Xiao Chen ran back to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's hotel, feeling a little annoyed. There was a 99% chance that Song Billion was behind this. When he accompanied Wang Benbin to look for him, Xiao Chen felt that it was a little strange. Now, it seemed that he was the one who spread the news. He's really immoral and keeps creating trouble for me. Even if he doesn't want me to be with Song Huawu, he doesn't need to do this, right? He kidnapped me to the Wang family. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Xia Zhili anxiously pacing around the lobby. When he saw Xiao Chen coming back, he immediately greeted, "Jianan, how is it? I heard that old man Song Billion spread the news that you and Lan Xinxin. I got the news that you were taken away by the Wang family. I didn't have time to stop it. Don't mention it. The Wang family is forcing me to get married." Xiao Chen waved his hand and took a sip of the free lemonade. Then he said, "I didn't agree, but the Wang family still won't let it go. Jianan, this is a good thing and a bad thing." Xia Zhili sighed. "If you become the son-in-law of the Wang family, you can probably keep your position as the deputy team leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, but it will be difficult to go further. The promotion of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is taboo to have relations with these martial arts families. Unless you make outstanding contributions to the Bureau in the future like last time." "But I don't want to get married so early," Xiao Chen said gloomily. "Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, why don't you assign me a mission and send me out? I'm just going to hide quickly. Out of sight, out of mind. I'll drag it out for a while. When the limelight dies down, the Wang family might just give up." "That's also a way." Xia Zhili nodded. "Then what kind of mission do you want? I'll look for it for you." "I want to go to the Hakanamata Desert. I heard that Xiao Chen appeared there, so I want." Before Xiao Chen could finish his words, Xia Zhili waved his hand and interrupted him. "Hakanamata Desert, right? Okay, I'll look for it for you. You're hiding far away. Looking for Xiao Chen is secondary. In fact, you want to stay away from the Wang family, right?" Xia Zhili smiled and said, not caring about Xiao Chen's reason. Yes." Xiao Chen smiled a little, awkwardly. "Okay, you go back to your room and rest first. I'll look for it for you." Xia Zhili was very optimistic about the current Xiao Chen. His attitude toward him had also changed, and he began to think of ways to protect him. Previously, Xiao Chen felt that Xia Zhili was a very hateful person, but now he felt that Xia Zhili was a real person. He wasn't as sinister as he thought before. On the other hand, Song Billion was a complete villain. Xiao Chen found it hard to understand. How did this person become the instructor of the newbie group and even get promoted? Little did he know that in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, strength was the most important. After all, people with strength more or less had some shortcomings. This was inevitable. Even the director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau knew this. If he wanted these martial artists to work for him, he couldn't ask for too much. If he asked for too much, that person would leave. He couldn't do anything about it. After all, he wasn't a strong director. His own strength could only be said to be slightly strong. "Okay, Deputy Director Xia, I'll go up first." Xiao Chen nodded. "Right, why do you keep wearing Xiao Chang's mask? You don't take it off?" Xia Zhili suddenly thought of it and asked, "Don't you feel uncomfortable?" "No, I think it's okay." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "It's good to change your face. Don't take it off for a while. Anyway, this is what the Wang family knows now. When the news blows over, I will change back. They won't recognize me then." "That's right." Xia Zhili nodded and said nothing more. Xiao Chen went upstairs to rest. He only saw Xia Shibin, but he didn't see Song Huawu. Xia Shibin was waiting at his door. When he saw him, he immediately said, "Brother Yang, are you okay?" "I'm fine." Xiao Chen waved his hand and opened the door. He said, right, where is Huawu? I didn't see her. She left with Deputy Director Song. Xia Shibin said, damn, this matter was caused by Pang Fingda. Brother Yang, we can't just let it go. Definitely not. Xiaoqin smiled coldly. This person tipped off the Wang family. Not only him but also Song Bilian. Xiaoqin was also annoyed. But now it's not good to touch them for the time being. Let's wait for a while. Yes, if we touch them now we will definitely be suspected. Xia Shibin nodded. And they are now strong. We have too much trouble. Xia Shibin, I didn't expect you to be so loyal to me. Xiaoqin didn't expect Xia Shibin to be so attentive to him during this time. Xia Shibin stood on his side for everything. It was not like the previous hostile and coercive relationship. Brother Yang, to tell you the truth, you treat me much better than the previous Brother Yang. In the past I was just a dog and attendant who ran errands. Now you never order me around. In the past, you even gave me a share of the credit in Lan City and transferred me to Team B. I'm grateful for all these. Xia Shibin said, don't think that I am a smooth person. I had no choice before. I was a newcomer and I offended Deputy Team Leader Xiao Meng. If I didn't rely on Brother Yang, I would have been killed by him. Brother Yang, let me tell you. Don't look at Xiao Meng's appearance. In fact, he's not a good person. Brother Yang made him hover between life and death. That's because he's not capable enough. Of course he's not your opponent now. Xiaoqin nodded. He didn't expect things to be like this. It seemed that the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. None of them were easy to deal with. But thinking about it carefully, these people were transcendental martial artists or martial artists. How could they be willing to be controlled by others? Well, Xia Shibin, it's good that you have this attitude. Although I can't treat you like a confidant for the time being, you won't be at a disadvantage if you follow me. Xiaoqin said. Okay, thank you, Brother Yang. Xia Shibin smiled and said, Brother Yang, then I will go back first. And you can go back first. Xiaoqin didn't say anything. On this day and the next day, Xiaoqin didn't go out of the room. He was very low-key, but the Wang family didn't come to him. They said that they would give him time to consider, so naturally they wouldn't come to him the next day. In the evening, someone knocked on the door. When Xiaoqin opened the door, it was actually Xia Zhili. He didn't expect him to come in person. This made Xiaoqin feel that this person wasn't so arrogant and aloof. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, why did you come in person? If there's anything, just let me know. I'll go look for you, Xiaoqin quickly said. It doesn't matter. I'm not an old man. Don't forget I am a 10th layer martial artist. This amount of exercise is nothing. Xia Zhili waved his hand and said, moreover, I also have something important to tell you. Chapter 625. Oh. Xiaoqin was slightly surprised. He immediately closed the door and invited Xia Zhili in. He asked him to sit down and was about to pour tea for him. Don't bother. You can sit down first. Xia Zhili pointed to the seat beside him, indicating that Xiaoqin should not sit down. All right. Xiaoqin looked at Xia Zhili's expression and knew that he had something important to say. He quickly sat down and asked, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, you were looking for me? It's like this. Recently there has been a mission. However, it is not a mission from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It is a mission from the Warrior Guild headquarters, Xia Zhili said. Oh, can I participate in this mission? Xiaoqin was slightly surprised after listening and could not help but ask. Of course you can. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau can also accept the missions from the Warrior Guild headquarters. However, the points obtained are counted as points for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's public account and cannot be owned by individuals. Therefore, there are contributions to the Bureau. However, usually, not many people are willing to accept the mission because there are no benefits. Xia Zhili said. Everyone has to accept the missions that we issue. However, the Warrior Guild's missions can be done at will. In this way, no one is willing to take the initiative to do it. In fact, if the mission is successful, the contribution to the Bureau is greater than other missions. After all, points are also an important way for us to exchange for cultivation resources. So that's how it is. Xiaoqin came to a realization and said, in that case, this mission must be related to the Hakanamata Desert. Yes. Xia Zhili nodded. Your mission this time is to go to the Hakanamata Desert and explore the ruins of the Bubbly Clan's cultivation city. Bubbly Clan? Cultivation city ruins? Xiaoqin nodded after listening and noted it down. Then what is this mission for? It's like this. The ruins of the Bubble Li clan's cultivation city. Legend has it that they have a lot of spiritual stones there. As for spirit stones, you also know that they are a type of energy that can be used to power a formation. Although they are not as useful as spirit jades, a large number of spirit stones can be as effective as spirit jades. Xia Zhili said, I don't know if you have heard, but Wulin has been collecting a lot of spiritual jades recently. It seems that they want to open some kind of formation, but they don't have enough spiritual jades in their hands, so they have turned their attention to spiritual stones, and spiritual stones are not so easy to find. The ruins of the cultivation city of Paoli clan have been annihilated for many years. Their clan has migrated to an unknown place, so it is very difficult to find them. Everyone's contribution is related to the number of spiritual stones found. Aren't the spirit stones placed together? Xiaoqin asked curiously. That was true in the past, but it has been so many years. The Earth's crust has shifted, and there are frequent hurricanes in the desert. The spiritual stones have long been scattered to who knows where, so we need everyone to search for them. Otherwise there wouldn't be this mission. Xia Zhili explained. So that's how it is. Xiaoqin understood, but no matter what the mission was, he had to go to the Hakanamada desert, so he accepted it. Okay, I will accept it. When will we leave? Naturally, the sooner the better. I heard that the ruins exploration is about to start. Don't be late. Xia Zhili said. Okay, then I will leave immediately. Xiaoqin made a decision. He also wanted to leave as soon as possible and go to the desert, and he was also concerned about the news of his father. Well, but there is one more thing. Xia Zhili hesitated for a moment and looked at Xiaoqin. Deputy Director Xia, if there is anything else, please let me know. If I can do it, I will definitely help. When Xiaoqin saw Xia Zhili's expression, he knew that he had something to ask of him. It was probably similar to the last time. It was a private matter, and it should be a very important private matter. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such an expression. It's like this. You also know that I have been stuck at the 10th level of the Martial Master realm for many years. I want to advance further, but I don't have suitable cultivation resources, so my progress has been slow. Xia Zhili sighed and said, You can be considered one of my people, so I won't hide anything from you. Although I am disabled, I wholeheartedly pursue martial arts. I want to advance to the next level. Now that I have stepped into the peak of the 10th level of the Martial Master realm, I am only one step away from the Martial General realm. I want to break through, but the current resources of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau are not enough for me to do so. Xiaoqin was shocked. He didn't expect that above the Martial Master realm was the Martial General realm, and Xia Zhili had already begun to break through. This was not easy, but what was the use of saying this to him? It's like this, Jianan, didn't you see the ruins of the Paoli clan? I actually heard of a legend before. Xia Zhili hesitated for a moment but still said, You have heard about this matter. Whether you have it or not, it is best not to spread it, understand? I understand, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, please speak. Xiaoqin said solemnly. And it's like this. I heard that the Paoli clan is not human but another race. They might be a spirit beast clan or they might be extraterrestrial visitors. Xia Zhili said, In short, there is no way to verify it. It has been thousands of years and they have long moved away. However, I know of a legend. When the Paoli clan settled in the Hakanamada desert, they brought with them something called the extraterrestrial ink meteorite. This thing can help me break through the Martial Master realm and become a Martial General. Of course, this is only a legend. Whether it can be found or not is another matter. When you go, if possible, help me look for it. Oh. Xiaoqin was a little surprised. There is such a thing? However, what does it look like? Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, you told me the name, but I don't know what it is. Naturally, I heard that not only can it help martial cultivators break through the Martial General realm, but it can also help them become the strongest Martial General, so it is quite precious. As for what it looks like, I am not too sure. I heard that it is a black meteorite. Xia Zhili said. Okay, I will pay attention. If there is, I will help you bring it back. Xiaoqin nodded and agreed. And so you accepted this mission? Then I will sign you up in a while. Xia Zhili said, however, you should also think about it. All the points you get in the mission have nothing to do with you personally. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau can only help you count it as a credit, but they will not give you any points. I know it doesn't matter. Xiaoqin said. And also because this kind of mission is quite special, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau will not provide you with travel expenses and material support. You will have to rely on yourself. Xia Zhili said, but I can personally pay for your travel expenses. Then there is no need. Xiao Chen smiled. Xia Zhili would probably only give him a few thousand yuan for the plane ticket, which Xiao Chen had himself. And then I will wait for your good news. After saying that, Xia Zhili stood up and left to help Xiao Chen sign up. What is the extraterrestrial ink meteorite? What Xiao Chen was interested in was this. Could it be that his father had also gone to look for this thing in the past? Xiao Chen knew that as long as it was something helpful to cultivation, Xiao Feng would search for it at all costs. Needless to say, this was very possible. Not long after, Xia Zhili returned. The moment he opened the door, he happily said to Xiao Chen, "Okay Jianan, it's done. You can head directly to the border town of Hakanamada Desert, Yu Town. There is a warrior guild branch there. Go there and register, then you can head to the desert for an adventure." Okay. Xiao Chen noted it down. Then I will go and book the plane ticket now. No need, I have already booked it for you. Originally you have to pay for the travel expenses yourself, but I have settled it for you. Xia Zhili smiled. You can just go to the airport. Xiao Chen nodded and told Song Huawu and Xia Shibin about it. Song Huawu replied, "Be careful, I support you." As for Xia Shibin, he wanted to go with Xiao Chen. However, Xiao Chen rejected him. This trip might be quite difficult and Xiao Chen had his own plans. Xia Shibin wanted to go with Xiao Chen. For a good thing like the extraterrestrial ink meteorite, if he found it, he could naturally go first. As for Xia Zhili, if there was an extra one, Xiao Chen would find one for him. If there wasn't, then he could only apologize. But if Xia Zhili went, it was hard to say. For this kind of thing, the fewer people who knew, the better. Although he had expressed his position in the face of great benefits, it was hard to say whether he could stick to his original heart. After packing up, Xiao Chen went to the airport. He didn't want to stay in Tianfang province anymore. The Wang family might come to find him at any time. He had to hurry and take refuge. After a few flights and a few long-distance buses, Xiao Chen arrived at the border town of Wuxia Town in the Hakanamada Desert. However, this was no longer the territory of the Great Xia Kingdom. This should be the territory of the martial arts circle. Many people here retained the custom of ancient clothes, but there were some modern people. Xiao Chen followed the road map that Xia Zhili gave him and didn't stop. He went all the way to Wuxia Town's warrior guild. "Hello, I am here to sign up for a mission." Xiao Chen found a staff member and said to him. There were very few people here. There were no people coming and going like the other city's warrior guild. There were only a few people. There were a few unknown martial artists and 2 or 3 staff members. It was a desolate scene. "Mission? How can there be a mission here? Where are you from?" The staff member looked at Xiao Chen impatiently. "I am here to participate in the Spirit Stone exploration mission of the Bubble Clan Cultivation City ruins in Hakanamada Desert." Xiao Chen was stunned and asked curiously, "You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel? We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."